Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Buck Rogers, and I'm joined by the Duchess of Duluth.
Hi.
Today we have a young actor who's abnormally talented.
Young buck.
A young buck. I got to tell you, we've been on a good roll of getting surprised by young talent, haven't we?
We have, yeah. Everyone's been great.
Yeah. Camilla, now Joey King.
Yeah.
Joey King is an Emmy-nominated actor. You know her from The Kissing Booth, like the biggest series ever.
I know.
Franchise on
Huge.
Netflix. The Act, Bullet Train, got to work with B. Pitt.
Ugh.
Ramona and Beezus.
My favorite children's book of all time.
So sweet.
Love it.
I didn't even know she was that little kid in that until we started researching her.
Yeah.
The Princess, and she has a new series out now on Hulu called We Were the Lucky Ones. Please enjoy, as much as we did, Joey King.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
I grew up in Simi Valley, and my Chipotle in Simi Valley was the one that had started the E. coli outbreak of Chipotle.
Shit.
So that's my claim to fame.
So flattering.
I know. That's me, guys. Thank you for...
big deal.
Cute Nikes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dunks, right? They're not Jordans, or are they
They're
Jordans?
Jordans,
They're
yeah.
ones.
I got them as a present for myself when I finished filming my show in Romania, because I was there for so long, and then I was like, I want to buy myself something I really want.
Yes.
And
I love buying
Go ahead.
stuff for myself.
I feel you're entitled to comment first because you're a fashionista and I'm not. Although I am an expert on Jordans.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not an expert. I just really like
They're
them. As
very
you can tell
cute.
how creased they are.
Don't forget, Rob, to take a photo of them because people will be mad that we
right.
don't post a photo of them. Did you go on the website and peruse? How did you come to find this pair?
So I was in Romania filming, and one of our first ADs, her name's Claire, she had this pair of shoes on. I was like, I love them.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we match? And she was like, no. I got them at this random mall store in Romania. It was called
Romania?
like Foot World or something. I don't know.
Oh my
I don't, it was not
God.
called that, but it was something like that. So I went and I was like, I'm going to match Claire.
Do you think they're authentic or they could be?
They are authentic.
How do we know?
I had
price?
like, it came, the price. Yeah.
Well, that's a good clue.
Well, it was like a real shoe store, but
Okay,
it came
okay.
with like a
Tag or
yeah.
whatever.
that might have
yeah.
sounded disparaging to Romania, but I do feel like you
did.
could get some knockoff shoes there, no?
You probably could.
Because we just learned about bags in Turkey.
We did. Apparently, there's all these Hermes bags you can get in Turkey that are fake, but they look exactly.
We had a guest who's very rich, and she had this beautiful Hermes bag yesterday, and Monica said, beautiful bag. She said, it is a fake.
And she has a real
I love
one,
that.
too.
Willingly giving up the information.
I agree.
I think it's really classy to just be like, hey, cards on the table. This
Yeah.
is my thing.
I saved a few bucks on this.
By the way, though, I did not save any money on these shoes.
You didn't.
Yeah,
You paid full freight.
unfortunately.
Full frickin' price.
How did you like Romania? My wife did a movie there, and she was anxious to come home.
Where was she? Was she in Bucharest?
I think she was more in the woods filming a horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I'm sure if she was in Bucharest, she would have liked it.
I love the people there. I missed home a lot.
Are you Slavic of some type?
I look at, so my heritage is Romanian, Polish, all that. So I'm like Ashkenazi Jew, Eastern European.
You look very Polish to me, and I say that as someone that's married to a
you.
Polish woman. So
I
no
appreciate
disrespect.
Extra respect.
In fact, I went to school in junior high. There was a girl that looked just like you. It's been driving me mad since I saw you in The Act.
Wow.
Patsy Fugit.
Shout out.
Wait, the fact that you remember her name, I thought you were just going to be like, it's a nameless woman.
No, Patsy Fugit. She had moved up from Kentucky and joined us in 7th or 8th grade.
I saw a girl yesterday who looked a lot like me.
You did?
I
Oh.
went to the lovely ice cream shop in LA called Salt and Straw.
Oh, delish.
My fave. The girl working behind the counter, I told my husband, I was like, we kind of look like each other. He was like, yeah, you could be cousins. Well, she's ringing us up. She goes, by the way, I get told I look like you all the time.
Wow.
And then she was like, this is so weird, but like I'm also by marriage related to Beverly Cleary, who's the
author.
deceased
Listen,
author of Ramona and
Ramona.
Beezus. And I was like, what? It was the coolest. So we took a picture
The
together.
simulation
That
is
is-
very lazy at times.
Yeah, I'm
They're
sorry.
like making duplicates and then they're linking them too closely to you.
I know, it was like in LA.
There's been a lot of mistakes in the sim lately.
There have been. I have been having a lot of deja vu lately.
Yeah, that's a sign. What was the most recent one?
It was just like a particular scenario. My husband was bent down in the pantry looking for something. I was wearing my PJs. Everything just was like, this has happened. We've done this.
It feels so
I
weird,
hate
deja vu.
Do I hate it? I most recently had it going under the underpass of the 405 on the way to the Richardson's house. And I guess my thought is, oh yeah, here we go. I already know what happens next, but what am I supposed to do? I guess I feel a pressure.
What do you mean what happens next? What
Meaning,
happens
I've already seen this whole scenario that I find myself in currently. In the past, I've already imagined this, and now I'm here. And what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do something very specific? Why would I be told right now to remember this?
Okay, so you kind of dissect it a little bit. Like it's a thing that
I
you
roll up
should
my
pay
sleeves.
attention to.
Yeah.
I dismiss it. But now I'm like,
I get scared I'm never going to come out of it. Because
Oh.
you're aware, right? Like, I've done it before, but it feels like it's a feeling that might never end, and I get scared.
It's like a suspended state a little
I
bit,
think
right?
it's a
You feel like you're
seizure.
leaving.
I think it's connected to seizures.
what I'm hearing is we all experience deja vu a little differently.
Yes.
I don't overthink deja vu at all. And I feel so sad that you're afraid you're going to get
I'm
stuck in
stuck.
this state of mind.
Well, as you
Yeah.
can see, all of this perfectly mirrors our already existing story. So, of course, Monica does. That's super Monica.
It is,
And then,
yeah.
of course, I am like, I already trial ran this, and there's a right move to make because I'm always plotting my quick escape or to conquer something.
Are you a little bit of a worst case scenario person?
Always, yeah.
Because I'm a huge worst case scenario person.
You
There's
are.
not a second. It's kind of insane. I don't know how I go through life every day with the amount of fear I have around earthquakes. And I grew up in LA. I have pretty terrible memories growing
you were,
up.
4 at the Northridge? Or no.
No, I wasn't even born yet in Northridge, but my sister almost died in Northridge.
Oh.
But I have experienced some really bad moments where, like, my mom is in the doorway and she's reaching for me while the house is shaking. So as I've gotten older, I'm so afraid of earthquakes, and I've tried to remember to sleep with my dog's leashes next to my bed in case we have to get out fast.
You have shoes right next to the bed?
I always have shoes somewhere accessible. I'm not a naked sleeper. I have to wear pants to bed because I'm like, if I gotta get out in a jiff,
Wow.
me and my husband are very different. He's not a worst case scenario thinker at all.
Well, that's good
That's a
that you're
good
together
pair.
because the two of you would drive yourself insane.
We would live in a bunker.
Yeah, you'd
if
be
we
hiding
were
under the bed. I'm a pajama pants sleeper because my legs sweat.
Yeah, me too. Chafe in my sleep a little
Okay,
bit.
good. So it's not just the escape, it's also there's some
Well, yeah,
sweating.
So you don't think the pants make the sweating worse?
There's a barrier.
They wick up the sweat. When I do sleep nudie, I'll wake up and I'm like, I can feel my thighs are slippery.
I hate it. It's so gross. A lot of people are like, it's so healthy for you. And I'm like, I really want to be.
What's that?
There's like studies or some shit that sleeping naked is really good for you.
Oh.
But I can't do it.
And you want to be sexy too? Part of me is like, I wish
Yeah,
I
I
were
think that feels
sexier.
more-
I sleep with mouth tape. I have a night guard.
What's mouth tape?
Mouth tape, you're supposed to, I mean, not supposed to.
Oh, to
I don't
breathe
know.
through your nose.
Exactly. I don't try to be hot when I'm sleeping.
Right.
I want to be hot at some point, like when me and Steven are watching Frasier and we haven't put in our night guards yet. I'm like, hey, do you want to? But
that's
when the
sexy.
night
Once the
guard
night
goes
goes in.
the mouth tape goes on, the hair masks go in, you don't come back from that.
Afraid that if you tape your mouth shut and you get a stuffy nose in the night, you'll die.
When I'm sick, I never sleep with it on.
Okay.
I have a pretty decent nasal passage on its own. I do not struggle with deviated septum, so I recognize my privilege.
Your privilege.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. Okay, now, of course, you're married, so you can put the mouth tape on and all this shit. But first couple nights together, you're like, hold on, I got to go put my clothes on and my mouth guard.
No,
right?
no.
So I agree that we're not trying to be sexy at the stage, but there is a point where you're trying to keep things hot and mysterious and sexy.
During the day, I still want to be cute for my hubs. I think it's fun to sometimes put a little effort in, just even when you got nothing going on.
Yeah, look at me.
You look adorable.
Yes.
I'm wearing a ball gown skirt today.
No, like you literally
for no
look
reason.
so cute. I am obsessed.
Thank you. But you got to wear your cute clothes.
You have
Doesn't
to
matter.
wear them. I love getting dressed up. You know when you show up somewhere and you don't know the vibe, so you overdress a little bit, and then you're like, oh, I overdressed. Well, that's okay. At least I look gosh darn cute.
Yeah.
I'm completely always the opposite end of
Really?
that spectrum. I'm showing up places all the time and being like, oh, fuck, this wasn't t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
I'm the only one in here not in a suit. That happens to me nonstop.
That's your own childhood. You would never want to show up overdressed.
Be a big sore thumb. Yeah, you'd get attacked for being
Right.
rich. Back to that, because that's actually my follow-up question about the Jordans.
How rich am I? Let me tell you.
Well, surely
We would like to know.
your big splurge to reward yourself at the end of a long shoot could be something bigger than Jordans. So there's a little clue in there, and I'm curious what's happening. That cannot be the biggest splurge of your life.
Of course not.
Okay.
But it was a little gift to myself because also at the end of shooting, I got married and I had this incredible, elaborate, gorgeous
Spain.
wedding.
Oh,
yeah. So that was pretty expensive.
Yeah. How many people?
It was 115, which for like a destination wedding is an incredible turnout.
It
Yeah.
is. How many of those people did you have to fly there?
Certain family members, I want to make sure they're taken care of. Everyone else, I was like, pay your own way, damn it.
The one thing that I think is clever about a destination wedding is you're going to inevitably cull the herd. A lot of people aren't going to pony up for that. And that almost seems like a good strategy. That wasn't the case for yours. I got to imagine that's everyone you invited pretty much.
So we wanted to do destination always. Part of it was like, we don't want certain people to come.
Yeah.
Of course, that you have to invite.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, well, yeah, oh, it's so far. There's certain people, I won't name names, but they didn't show up, which was great.
Oh, wonderful.
It'll just be like also super private if we go far away, but we didn't know where we wanted to go. We kind of stumbled upon Mallorca because our wedding planners was like, have you ever heard of Mallorca?
Is that not in Greece?
It's off the coast of Spain.
Oh.
To be honest with you, when my wedding planner said, have you ever heard of Mallorca? My husband goes, of course. And I was like, never. And
Yeah.
so I'd never even heard of Mallorca, which is crazy.
But you've heard of an orca.
I've heard.
So you might have thought like, oh, my orca.
My.
It's like
No,
a
I have not
SeaWorld-y.
met your orca.
I was just watching a brutal episode of Our Planet last night of whales killing whales.
Whale on whale.
Whale on whale action.
Whale-icide?
It was so disturbing, but it was really incredible.
Do you have any desire to go on an African safari?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I would highly recommend it. Of all the trips I've taken, that's the best
I
of all
spent
time.
like 6 months in South Africa, but I never had a free weekend.
What were you shooting for 6 months in South Africa?
I was shooting Kissing Booth 2 and 3.
You guys shot them concurrently.
We shot them at the same time.
You
We
did?
shot all 3 Kissing Booths in South Africa, though.
And do you now have an affinity for that place?
I spent too much time there. I loved it so much, but not that comfortable going and exploring on my own. And especially, I feel like South Africa dips in and out of like safety issues.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
And so I felt like a little hold up at times.
How old were you when you were shooting that?
First Kissing Booth, I was 17.
Oh my Lord. Was your mother traveling with you at that
When
time?
I was 17, yeah. Kissing Booth 2 and 3, I was 21.
Totally different vibe, I'm imagining. Well, I know because I watched some interviews with you and you were getting high and stuff. So I know things changed
fun.
along
It was
the way.
an accident.
You're playing it fast and loose with accident.
You're allowed.
You can't accidentally eat an edible. I mean, someone could say, do you want a brownie? And you didn't know.
The timing of it was the accident. I was 21. It was our last day of shooting, and we were there forever. And I took half of them, and I thought we were on our last
Half
shot.
a brownie.
Oh,
was
I
a
get
cookie.
it. It was a pacing issue.
Yes. It was our last setup. I thought I was going to be able to go back to my hotel room, pack up, enjoy my little cookie experience, and just kind of chill out. And then they added like 7 more shots. And that's what happened.
That makes a lot more sense.
It was a bit of a panic time. I will never, ever do that again.
Did you tell anyone?
Yeah, I told Joel, my castmate. He was like, what?
I'm hanging on by a thread here, Joel.
Barely here.
I was like, this is a problem. I feel so guilty and unprofessional.
Is it legal there?
I don't know, actually. It was a gift.
Yeah, it's
so
a beautiful gift. Well, but I just wonder, like, at least here in California, were you to take an edible, you would actually know what the milligrams were. But when you're in a black market situation and someone gives you a cookie, I mean, it could have 35 grams of
You have
THC
no
or it could
idea.
have 2.
Yeah, I also wasn't the smartest. I wasn't familiar with any of the dosing grams or milligrams or anything. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, which shockingly, like, I never really do that. Growing up, I was never a very disobedient child. I was very, very goody-goody, very much a rule follower. I still am for the most
Monica
part.
could
I
be
love
great
rules.
roommates.
I really like them.
I'd be trying to pirate the cable from the neighbors and you guys would be like, no,
Don't do that.
don't do that,
Do
Dax.
that. I'm calling the police.
Why did we ever agree to live with you? You're so old.
My mom is very particular. She's a clean freak. I have a very chore-like mental capacity, so I'm always like, oh my God, I gotta empty out the lint dryer, and then I gotta take out all the hair in the vacuum roller. Chores and rules, I do well with
Type
those
A.
things.
Good.
But I'm not type A. My oldest sister is type A, and then I feel comparatively like the fast and loose one, but I'm still very rule-oriented. I don't know what I am. I'm figuring it out.
It's okay. You don't have to be pigeonholed.
You have 2 older sisters?
I do.
What are the age gaps?
They're 6 and 7 years older than me.
Oh my Jennifer, that's enormous.
Yeah, we're so close.
Have always been or just developed in adulthood?
They have always been so good to me and close with
That's
me.
nice.
They were a little pornography when they were teenagers. They have more to fight about. They borrow each other's clothes.
1 year apart, that's
It's
Fighting
tough.
each other's style. Why are you talking to Jennifer? She's my friend.
All that fun stuff, but they were both so sweet with me. And then now all three of us are just constantly talking. We can't not have a dialogue going.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's literally the best thing in my life. They're my favorite.
Okay, so you're a unicorn in that you're from LA, which is so
Yeah.
weird. So you were born in 99 in LA, Los Angeles, City of Angels, is that correct?
99 in Simi Valley. City of Angels adjacent.
as we discussed.
Made famous by the
Chipotle.
Rodney King beating.
And
That's
the Chipotle.
And the Chipotle
E.
E. coli.
Wow.
And the
Made
Ronald
news a
Reagan
lot.
Library.
Yes, which apparently is beautiful. Have you been to it? You must have gone on a field trip there when you were a kid.
Oh my God, we went all the time.
You went
it's
all
like
the
the
time.
only thing to do there.
It's beautiful though, right?
I've not been there in a while, but it's nice.
Were your mom and dad married?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Are they from here or did they move here?
So my dad's from Arkansas and my mom's from Philadelphia.
Wonderful. What brought them here?
My mom moved to LA with her family when she was 9. My grandmother and her best friend decided to make the move to LA at the same time. As like a best friends, we're better
Thelma
weather,
and
let's go to
Louise.
LA. Exactly. And they're still BFFs to this day.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Please.
I've interviewed a handful of people your age, and most often, none of the references I say they get. But I worked with this wonderful actor, Mae Whitman, on a show.
I love Mae Whitman.
She's the greatest person ever. And like you, she was a baby on movies. So she's so fucking adult. I don't know. I must be 14 years older than her or something. But when we were working together, I was 32, she was 21. Every reference she knew. And so I just think it is an interesting and kind of predictable thing that if you grew up on sets, you are way older than you chronologically should be.
Absolutely. As much as I also think it's a good thing, there's things that people have said it's like creepy when you're getting older. But like I've been on set since I was 4. What do you want from me? All I knew was adults my whole life. I was homeschooled for a huge portion of my life and I grew up really quickly.
You're surrounded by adults. So you're hearing them talk and you're hearing all their references and you're just picking up all this shit that you would have never picked up otherwise. You're 24?
Yeah. Your life becomes a lot bigger when you are on set because you're exposed to so many things. Simi Valley, yes, it's right next to LA, but before you have a license, it's a very small world in Simi Valley. And so I could have never left. My after-school activity, I went to this place called Skate Lab, which no longer exists, but that was the socialization.
Is that a roller skating rink?
It was a skateboarding, scooter, and BMX, but it was like the best part of Simi Valley to me because it was what I did for fun. But leaving all the time to go on location and work with all these new people. And for example, my family, they're all very picky eaters. I was only exposed to like unique foods even just by going to restaurants for work dinners at like a very young age and being like, what's that? I've never had that before. So like my mind was so expanded during my sponge years
Wow, this
because
is
of
an
all these
interesting
adults.
dynamic. If I were your parents, it's almost like, oh, what is it? Great Expectations, where Pip's embarrassed of his father. Was there any dynamics
like a
where it's like
weird
you were
role
more
reversal.
worldly, their kid was getting more worldly than them, and it felt weird?
My mom has kind of embraced and chuckles at the fact that I'm so much more adventurous with food than her. She's always been like, I can't believe you. You're such a hoot. You try anything. So she's so cute because she's always been such a little cheerleader for me and like, oh, good for you, girl. But also is at the same time like, ew, I don't want that.
But they never felt like, oh, we might not be enough for this girl now. Like her world's gotten so big.
No, you know what though? I think that that's what a lot of child actors and their parents struggle with. That's why a lot of them wind up going kind of off the deep end because their parents no longer feel like an authoritative figure to them. My mom always knew her role was to be my parent. There's a lot of opportunities that present itself when you grow up in the industry where you can go down a really different path that can be really bad. And I think that opportunity is a lot easier to take when you don't have a good structure around you. And I was lucky enough, my mom wasn't strict necessarily, but if I disappointed her, that weight would ruin me. And my sisters too. My sisters were like my second, third moms. The women in my life, I answered to them because I cared so much what they thought. Those opportunities are less likely to happen, I feel like, when you've got a good grounding system.
Yes. And they weren't letting you believe your own shit.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the time parents that I've seen, they do start to think, am I enough for my kid? I just want them to be happy. Growing
Well,
up,
this very weird dynamic happens when they start supporting their
the
family.
family, I
Yeah.
never did. And I don't want to say that that's the wrong way because, you know, a lot of people have had to do that and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just survival and
And a
everything.
parent gives up their opportunity
Exactly.
to work. Yeah.
But like I never did that. I never supported my family. My money was mine that my mom saved for me and put away for me.
What was it like to be rich as a child?
She never told me I was.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's smart.
It's interesting. I was rich for a kid.
Yeah, you had
Yeah,
hundreds. Let's
yeah.
just say you probably had hundreds of thousands of dollars when you were a kid.
I got there eventually, yeah.
Yes.
But like, it was pretty amazing. This is where this mindset comes from. After every job I finished, my mom was like, you can buy yourself a present, whatever you want with your money. Because she was like, you've earned it, and this is your money that I'm saving for you. But at the end of the day, you should be able to understand that hard work, you can reward yourself.
Of course.
Yeah, that's great.
What kind of dumb things did you buy?
Oh man, I got Jordans. But I got myself, I'll never forget this cool little electric moped that was tiny at like Walmart for like
wonderful.
$1.99.
Yeah.
And
that's a
that
big
was a
deal.
splurge.
Yeah.
Did you crash it?
No, I was, so responsible. The only thing I did, my mom was very conscious of me hurting myself because I was always very clumsy and I would hurt myself very easily. She didn't want me to do dangerous activities, but I really loved to skateboard, and we lived on a hill as a kid. And I thought, oh, this hill's so crazy big, it'll be fun if I luge down the hill on it and lie down on my skateboard. You lie on your back on my skateboard and like went down this hill that's like a mile long. My mom found out I was doing that. She almost ripped my head off. She was so mad.
Did you get speed wobbles? Because I was a big skateboarder as a child. When you went down really steep hills, you had to really bend your knees because the board starts wanting to wobble
It's
like
so
this.
scary. So I had to tighten my tracks whenever I would luge, and then I would
Okay.
loosen them whenever I would just skateboard.
Nice. Very well done.
Very scary. I'm so not like that anymore.
Really?
I am so afraid of hurting myself. But I think most kids are just like, oh, whatever, I'll
Yeah.
throw myself around. And then when you get older, you're like, I'm not going to do that.
That hasn't happened yet for me.
I know. You're rare.
So
But that's
waiting.
good. That's cool.
I don't know. I'm constantly like, when am I going to get on this motorcycle and go like, this is over? I don't feel like that time is any
Motorcycles scare me so bad.
Yeah, everyone.
My hands just got sweaty when you
You're
said
just
that.
thinking about it. Can I show you something?
Yeah.
Like, look at this. Look at all this metal.
He's taking his shirt off for the
No,
my
listeners.
God.
I'm exposing a
Big
clavicle.
scar.
I would never take
So
my
you've
shirt
been
off.
in a bad accident, I assume.
Yeah, over the handlebars at the racetrack.
Oh, Lord.
Both shoulders are that way. One for a dirt bike and one for a road bike.
Were they totally both shattered?
This one was in 4 different pieces floating around.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
And then I had to get a plate in, and the plate was working. And then on the way here one morning, I crashed an electric bicycle, and then it re-broke. And then I had to get 2 plates, and then I had to do a bone transplant for my hip to mash it all together.
I'm such a pussy when it comes to pain.
You are.
Really?
Like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Like, what's the worst pain you've experienced? And then knock on wood.
Wait, that's a really, I've had some shit. I split my lip open once. That was bad, but it was fine.
I feel like you'd be predisposed to split your lip open.
It's going to happen.
gonna
Your
happen.
big lips are going to...
It's just going to split.
I've done
Yeah,
it.
but
You're big,
You're gonna
they're
pay
just
the
gonna-
price. It's not going to be all like limousines and fucking free jeans. They come with a price.
Every now and then they split.
I broke a finger once. I was really mad and I punched the floor.
Oh,
The floor.
The floor is an
I'm
interesting
not an
choice.
angry guy.
Yeah.
But this, I was really angry.
Wow.
Was it directed at a boyfriend?
It sure was.
Of course, always is.
How
Brings out the
did
worst.
you know? I punched the tile floor. I didn't feel a thing, obviously. I was blinded by rage. And then maybe 15 minutes later, my hand's like shaking. It's already bruised. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do?
And did the same boyfriend drive you to the hospital? That's kind of embarrassing when you like. It's a very
No.
guy thing to do. You punch a wall, and then you break your hand, and then you have to go like, I need to go to the like, after
Oh
this
my
whole display of
God.
gorillas.
I was so mad. I took myself. I wanted nothing to do with the whole thing. I was like, I'm doing it myself. I'm going to CVS and call my sister, and she's going to come get me.
And I don't need you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably the worst pain.
I have some questions along the way. First of all, I guess I'm curious how you get into acting at 4 years old. You have the only commercial career I've ever seen that would rival Monica's.
Oh.
Monica would have like 6 nationals running at one time when I first met her.
I did have an illustrious commercial career.
She never went to an audition she didn't book.
That's not true.
I'm telling you, the batting average was outrageous.
Did you like walk into the lobbies of those audition rooms and everyone in there would like roll their eyes?
You're
Like,
like, fuck,
oh,
might as well go
shit,
home."
might as well pack up.
Padman's here. Pack it up. Should call her Pack It Up Padman.
There were plenty I didn't get, but I did pretty well. I did do pretty well. I have to
When
admit
this show
it.
was first blowing up, our comment section, all it was people going like, is Monica in a Geico commercial? Is Monica in the
That's
AT&T?
so funny.
I stopped, and I sometimes regret it.
Well, and you
What's
got
your favorite commercial you
superstitious.
ever did?
She's been in one with huge stars. Her commercial career is better than my movie career was.
The first commercial I ever booked, this is the first like real job I ever booked, was for Herbal Essence.
Mermaids.
Yeah. And
so
I was a
yeah, so you've got
mermaid.
fabulous hair.
Thank
of
you.
course,
Outrageous.
Of course,
Exactly.
you go in
Like
a
your
hair
lips
commercial.
broke. She's gonna get her fucking hair caught in something someday. It
Oh
might
my
end up
God,
in some
don't
gears.
say that. I could die.
I've like shaved my head 3 times
Yeah.
and I just want it to be so beautiful and thick and healthy, but it's just not.
It looks very
And
healthy.
what do you
and
look
My
like with
mom
the
French braided it for me today.
It looks beautiful.
She came over and I was like, braid my hair. It's not working.
You're up.
Wait, yeah, we
How
gotta
do you
talk
look
about
with a
shaving.
shaved head?
I think I look pretty good. I really
Yeah.
liked it.
Sinead O'Connor vibes?
Yeah, I think every woman should do it once.
Here's the thing. I shave. So, Icarus, I flew too close to the sun. I was in 7th grade, and it's the only year of my life that I was super cute. I was like Brad Pitt 1 year of my life.
At least you had that.
I cherish it, and everyone should have that year in their life. I feel so
You peaked
grateful.
in 7th grade. That's
Big
great.
time. But I got so cocky. And part of my popularity was I had a really tall spike and bangs and long hair and back. And then I fucking shaved my head in 8th grade. And my nose like quadrupled in size. As soon as that hair went away, I was like, oh no, what's that? I hadn't noticed the nose until all the hair was
That's
gone.
really funny.
Yeah.
You have great standalone features.
But
That's why.
I know what you're saying
Do you know what I'm
because I
saying?
shaved my head for the first time when I was 11. I was so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My like
America
little round
agrees.
face. I had the cutest little button nose, the biggest lips, little chin. And then the next time I shaved my head, I was 13. Well, things are changing a little bit when you're 13.
preteen.
Things got a little bulbous here and there, funny little lines that are just grooves in your face now. And it was
Skin's
like funny.
different.
I wasn't by any means, quote, famous as a kid, but people knew who I was still. Like I had been working for a while. And the second time I shaved my head, people were so mean about it.
They were
Online.
Oh,
And I'm
'cause
like
you were-
14 years old, hating myself already. And I was like, oh no, everyone thinks I'm ugly. Then I kind of got some weird brain chemistry God complex or something where I was like, no, you know what? I'm the shit.
Good. Yeah, you have to make that decision.
I overcompensated, but I've leveled out. My confidence is somewhere in the middle between hating myself and thinking I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
That's the goal.
I'm almost never in the middle. I'm on either end of that spectrum.
No, me
so I'm
too.
the biggest piece of shit in the
Today,
world.
I'm
or
the biggest piece of shit in the world. My in-laws are visiting me, and I was laying on my kitchen floor talking to my mother-in-law, and I was like, I just hate myself today. And she's like, how are you going to do this interview?
Oh, that was today.
That was literally a couple hours ago. And I was like, I don't know, Sharon. And my husband was like, Mom, don't make her feel bad.
Oh my God.
What a disaster.
It was so funny.
Wait, why did you hate yourself today?
Oh, good question. So I started my period 2 days ago. And
Flies.
obviously you hate yourself no matter what. Like, and that's fine. At least I can diagnose it. There's a
Yes.
reason, not a mystery. Also, I have makeup on right now, so you can't see it, but I have like a flare up of maybe some eczema or something going on. And I've never experienced that before. I've been so lucky with my skin growing up. I had really good skin. So now I'm 24. Yeah, knock
Yeah.
on wood. For the first time having some skin
hormonal
flare up.
issues.
It makes you feel like you're a piece of shit.
You could be Angelina Jolie. If you have a huge pimple on the end of your nose, you're fucked.
I
Or if you have
almost
some
showed up
scaly
without makeup
skin-
on because I was nervous that piling it on the eczema thing will make it worse. But you guys, it is so red and itchy and raw.
Do you have a cream for that? Because I have many.
I do, but I'm a little bit like, I need to heal this from the inside out.
I see
I
where
don't
you're
know
at.
how, but I'm going to take a stupid, holistic approach because I want to.
Yeah.
People will hate that I say this, but I have psoriatic arthritis.
I got tested for that and I didn't have it.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry you have it.
We could be brother and sister in this. But for me, it's 100% diet.
I would say most of the time I'm pretty good and I indulge when I want to. But lately,
Well, your period was coming.
period was
Yeah.
coming,
Were
you
in-laws
getting into
in
the
town.
sugars?
It's
Yeah.
fun to go to In-N-Out.
Oh, we
You
just
know what
went
I mean?
yesterday.
I went on Monday. I did.
We would
so
almost ran into each
good.
other.
And then I went
yeah.
to Salt and Straw last night. I told
Yeah.
you. You start to just hate yourself and then you just keep making it worse on purpose
Well,
because you're like
sure.
in a hole.
All you want is
I'll
the
love myself when I
comfort.
wake up tomorrow. It'll be
Yeah,
fun.
you want the comfort food, and then the comfort food is the cause, but then you will need more of it.
I say this about myself. I have zero homeostasis. So I'm either getting better as a person or I'm getting worse. There's never any neutral.
You're a man of extremes.
Yeah, I'm either waking up a tiny bit earlier and I'm meditating a little deeper and I'm journaling, or it goes the other way and it just goes down, 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 down,
Me
down.
as well. All or nothing. I'm making healthy smoothies in the morning. Then I'm taking time to do NSDRs.
What's NSDRs?
It's no sleep, deep rest. It's basically meditation, but it's
Okay.
just a little different. I don't know. I found
you
out
a-
about it on Huberman.
I was just going to say, are you a Huberman
Andrew.
listener?
Good old Andrew.
I know.
So predictable.
Cold plunge here and there.
Oh, we do too. We're religious about it. Okay, back to the shaved head.
Back back to business.
Yeah.
Back to your 7th grade Brad Pitt peak. What happened?
Or off of me. Exactly what happened. I grew like 10 inches and lost weight and nose got bigger.
When I shaved it the 3rd time, I was feeling pretty confident in myself. I was happy with who I was at that point. Like, I wasn't like a 14-year-old anymore who was nervous about what everyone thought. But I'm smart enough to know the difference between looking cute while going to the grocery store and then getting dressed for an event and having your photo taken professionally. Those are the times where you've got a shaved head, your features are very differently exposed now. You can't hide behind your hair, really. That's when I thought about those things. Looking cute for a dinner with friends, not really on my mind. Those things where you are like, one wrong angle.
It'll be posted somewhere where people can comment.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
All right, so I'm going to take a stab at this.
Take it.
Do you think you were shaving your head as a way to force yourself to take a break from acting?
No, I was doing it for jobs always.
Always.
Every single time was for a job.
Guess I saw you with a shaved head.
Yeah, on the act, it was for that.
And
That
which
was the
time
last
was
one.
that?
The last time.
Last
It was the last
Okay.
time I did
The
it.
third is a charm. You got nominated, so you finally...
So it worked out.
That's why I'm doing it. I only care about awards.
Okay, so I started to ask you, but how do you get into it at 4?
So my 2 older sisters were already kind of in it. And
Oh, yes.
basically how this happened was my oldest sister was just so frickin' cute as a kid.
Hunter?
Kelly, big black curly hair, really beautiful white skin with freckles, like so cute. Everyone's telling you gotta get her in a commercial. You gotta. Financially, my parents were like, yeah, we'll probably never be able to put them through college. So maybe this will be cool for them to do and maybe get some money of their own. My mom's intentions were always to have our money be ours and save it for us, which was great because my sisters, I never went to college, but they did put themselves through
Oh,
college.
they went to college?
Yeah,
Good.
they did. So then my middle sister, everything my sister wanted to do, she wanted to do. And then I came along and I was just this huge personality. And I was like, everything they do, I want to do too. And they were like, okay. I would go to improv class with my sisters. And I was really young and kids of that age weren't allowed to be in that class. But my mom and the theater owner became like friendly. And she was like, I'll drop her off. She's cute. We'll watch her for you. Very Senior Valley.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much. And it kind of just stemmed to commercials seamlessly. And then I really loved it. And I was getting more auditions and opportunities. I didn't really realize that I loved it until I did Ramona and Beezus, though. That's when I realized that it was more than just fun, it was responsibility.
So you were probably 10 when you filmed it because it came out in 2010?
I was 9,
I do want to just ask, Reign Over Me.
first movie I ever did.
Did you like Adam Sandler? Were you too young to like Adam Sandler? Were you excited that you were in an Adam Sandler movie?
I mean, God, how old was I?
1 year old. No, you
my
were
gosh.
8 years old. When it came out, you were 8 years old.
Okay, so I was probably 6 or 7.
You don't remember a fucking thing of that, probably.
Barely. I was in a flashback. I had nothing to do. But it was my first time being on like a film set. And it's funny because now I've run into Adam Sandler since. He like came up to me at the Critics' Choice Awards and was like, I'm such a fan. And I was like, I was in your first, my first movie was with you. And it was a really, really cool full circle moment.
Yeah. Okay, so Ramona and Beezus.
Beezus.
Jesus.
That's my favorite book of all time.
Ramona and Beezus. And you liked it before you got to play her?
Loved those books. I grew up on the entire Ramona series because there's like
So
9
many.
books
Ramona
or something.
and her mom.
There's spin-offs of like Henry and the best friend, Howie. So I was obsessed with those books. Everyone in my grade, it was required reading, but we adored it.
Now, when you had been reading it, because I do think we all do this, we make ourselves the lead character. When you were reading it, were you already pretending you were? Is that a weird, does that make any
I
sense?
see what you mean.
By the time an audition comes around, if you had been living in the books, I'm there.
I knew them so well, but I didn't know if I necessarily put myself in as Ramona, but I was such an avid reader at that age. I would get totally lost in whatever I was reading. So it kind of was putting myself in Ramona's shoes or whoever I was reading. You know, I was obsessed with those Goosebumps books. And then I got the audition for Ramona. They did like a worldwide net of casting, and they told me I didn't get it because I was too young. But then it took them so long to keep auditioning everybody that they come back around to me because I had aged a full year. And they were
Oh,
like, can
wow.
we see you again?
Wow.
I know.
Oh,
It took them a
wow.
long time to cast. So they were like, can we see you again now that you're older? And I was like, yes.
And that you just loved.
So much. It was fabulous. It was hard work. I was 9. I was carrying a movie.
That
Oh
was
my
bonkers.
God.
I didn't know like the responsibility of it necessarily,
Thank
but
God.
I knew how tired I was and how hard it could be, and balancing that in my school.
Where did it shoot?
Vancouver. that was the job that I fell in love with it. And I really haven't lost that spark.
When you were falling in love with it, by the way, I've worked with some kids that then became really great and big stars. Sometimes something wrong can happen, which is like you love it, it's play, and then you go, I want to be great at this, and something gets fucked up in that transition of trying to be great
Exactly.
now.
Yeah, you become a little too aware of yourself. When you're
your
young,
gift
you're
was-
just doing, and then when you get older, you're acting.
You're self-conscious because you're a teenager. I'm just trying to figure out where in that process were you. Did you already know you wanted to be a great actor, or were you just like, this is so fun, I enjoy this so much?
I've never, ever thought to myself, I want to be a great actor. But I do want to be a great actor, but I've never thought about it in those terms. I've just been lucky enough to have success from a young age. Up until not that long ago, I'm auditioning, and if I get it, I do the job. Now I'm at a point, because of my fortunate success, I have more freedom to choose what I want to do now. And that's where the consciousness of what kind of actor do I want to be now comes in.
Well, now it's like, well, where am I trying to go? Because I got to reverse engineer what I want to do to get to that point. Whereas before, you're just like, this job comes along, you like it, you go audition, you get it, you don't.
Me
Yes.
like it.
I think options are really tricky.
It is tricky, and becoming aware of yourself is tricky, of course.
I'm sure it's a little different from you. I was older, but it was like, I'm trying to get this thing, I'm trying to get this thing, I'm trying to get this thing. That's very easy. I don't want to lose this thing. You haven't even been
such a
practicing
bizarre
thinking
feeling.
that way.
Sometimes it feels worse, which is crazy.
It is a funny thing because obviously so grateful to have all these choices now to be able to kind of choose the direction I want to see myself go in. But it is a lot more challenging for sure because you are driving the ship at that point. And what do I know? I'm just a dumb actor at the end of the day.
Yeah. But you want to stick around minimally.
No.
You're like, I want to be able to
And there's
keep doing
pressure.
this.
This is what I always say when people ask me, what do you want to do next? It's like, I have lots of things I'd like to accomplish over time. My biggest thing is I would love to have longevity, please. I love what I do so much. I just want to be able to stick around as long as people will have me.
Well, sadly, there's a pretty bulletproof plan for that. And this is where I fucked up enormously, is you just work with the greatest person available to you. But all these really tasty things come your way without the great person attached, and they're very tempting and the money's better. For me, that was the thing. I was like, I could be the lead of this with someone who's never directed, but I make twice as much. Yeah, I'll do that instead of doing the thing with the really good person.
I know.
It's
These are where the
hard.
choices come in. I, as a child actor, had a lot of people helping make decisions for me, which was wonderful, and it obviously got me where I am now. But now that I would like to make the decisions, I need input, of course. But ultimately, I'm not like 7 and my manager and my mom is like, we'll do that. You know, it's like I'm my age and I'm like, yes, no, I don't know. It's a wonderful issue because I'm always afraid I'm never going to work again. And then like I see my inbox, I'm like, all right, I can chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
I try to be optimistic where I can.
We could not possibly do this interview and not address something that Monica's going to just lose her mind over.
Oh my God,
Fashion.
what?
Vogue?
Taylor Swift video, Mean.
Oh.
2011.
Oh my God. Love her so much.
Monica
How do you feel
is
about
the
her?
biggest Swiftie on the planet
Well,
Earth.
that is not true. We know how Swifties can
Swifties
get.
Be Swiftin'.
Don't gun for their title of the biggest
I would
Swiftie.
never.
No, I know
say
you
that.
wouldn't. I'm saying you don't
Don't
gun for their
ever-
title,
I don't even.
Dax.
Well, I wouldn't,
Chill
but I shouldn't
out.
even suggest she is because
Yeah.
then they'll come after her.
Yeah, don't rope me into that.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not even
Honestly, though,
close.
I don't know. I think Swifties just love finding out other people are Swifties.
No, they're a good
They're, a
group.
good
They're
nice
cute.
group.
They're
kind of
so
like
cute.
armchair.
I'm just going to be respectable. Like, I know the level.
What are you out of 10?
If I'm being
6?
on, yeah,
What's your Swift meter
I'm
at?
probably a 6.5 on the scale.
'Cause you didn't even know about
This
the-
is a crazy question. What are you out of 10?
I know,
Because
I know.
now everyone's going to be like, she's only a 6.5.
I know.
You can't win this.
I can't. Look what you've done. You've trapped me.
You have pigeonholed her.
But I feel like you didn't know about the Blue Board Cafe when I took a picture in front of it. That's the first time I was like, oh, she's not a 8 or a 9.
I'm not claiming. I just respect
You're
her
putting
to
so much pressure on her.
No.
She had me believing she was a 10 because she talks about her so much. I'm like, oh, she must know every single thing about her. And the way Monica likes people is to do that. So she liked Matt and Ben. And so she learned
I love
everything
Matt and
about
Ben.
them.
Are we talking about the Matt and Ben?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The
And
one
I
and only.
am a 10 on Matt and Ben. There's no question. There is no one who is a bigger fan than me for them.
Some girl's getting in her car right now with
oh,
a rifle.
go ahead.
Like some girls like, I love Matt LeBlanc and Benjamin Franklin more than than you, and she's coming right now.
At LeBlanc and Benjamin Franklin.
That's great.
And she gets here and is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you loved Benjamin
They
Franklin.
see the Matt Damon poster
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
like, why do you have that, Matt?
She's like, my mistake. I'm so sorry.
That was a very fast pull.
That was
Joey,
very
really good. I had to think about that one.
Thank you.
Anyway, I just respect the fucking hell out of her. I think it's
Yeah.
incredible what she's done.
She's a killer.
She is, and
Were
she's a
you a-
genius.
Were you a fan of hers before you did the music video? And was she there?
She was directing it. I was 11 or 10 or something. And what 11 and 10-year-old is not
Oh my
freaking out over Taylor Swift?
You were also hanging at the skate park with a shaved head? I don't know.
That
It could have
was-
gone the other way.
Listen, I'm like an onion.
So many
Peeling
layers.
back
Well,
my layers.
That's what I'm here to do. I sharpen my fingernails just to get clawing at those layers.
I would consider myself very girly, but I'm also capable of being very not girly.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're multifaceted.
I'm very complex. No,
Yeah.
I would say as I'm getting older, I'm leaning into more girliness because I'm just like, I love being a woman.
The older you get, the more
It's
you feel
the
that.
best thing in the world. But I mean, this week, I'm
It's
a
the
little
best thing in the
over
world.
it.
3 weeks a month.
It's the best thing in the world. 3 weeks.
75% of the
Actually,
time.
Actually, like 2.
I was going to say, I get like 1 good week a
I
month.
know, like 4 days.
There's like
max.
1 week a month where I'm like, I'm on top of the world.
I know, it's
What
such
a
a
bipolar
beatdown.
existence.
But it's beautiful.
But it's why I am amazed by
You know what I
women.
do think about a lot? How Taylor performs on her period.
Can you?
I don't think about it a lot. That's weird. But I think about it occasionally.
Can I
It's
suggest
fair
something?
to think about it.
It is very probable she doesn't get her period like an Olympic athlete. These athletes will have big stretches where they don't get their period.
Yes, a lot of physical exertion, but she does take care of herself in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But even these athletes that don't get it for like a year at a time, they're taking care of themselves. It's just something about the body knows this is not the time for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you're running from a lion seemingly. This Eras tour, it's like she's been being chased by a lion for 2 years.
That's too long for her not to get her. I want her to get her period.
Taylor, if you've
You know
gotten
what's
your
interesting
period, will
though?
you
Like
just
I
reach
still,
out?
yeah, could you reach out?
Can you
and
let us know?
I'm a little confused on people who take birth control and never get their
Okay.
period. I don't understand it. In my head, I'm like, that can't be good for you. But I'm hearing you don't need to get your period.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
but
something
then what
that'll-
happens to the eggs?
Do we just absorb them?
Right.
I'm going to tell you something that I read, which is really interesting. So, if you look at the history of the birth control pill,
It sucks.
well, it was designed to placate the Catholic Church. So, the Catholic Church is not in favor of any contraception. And then in the 50s or 60s, I forget, they get them to agree to using the cycle as a means of predicting pregnancy. They get them to say it is okay to control birth if you're monitoring and tracking your cycle. So then the birth control pill comes along, and really what should happen, if you look at the rate of ovarian cancer in areas where women have kids one after another, they're having 9-month stretch without a period, 9-month stretch without a period, 9-month stretch. So their rate is way lower because it's passing through and creating damage, and then you're going through mitosis, which creates mutations, which creates cancer.
I believe photosynthesis is somewhere in there,
It's
too.
in there. It's in the mix. So the less times that the egg passes through, the lower your chances of getting cancer. So when they designed the pill, they should have never had the sugar part. You should not have your period at all the whole time you're on it.
But
And then
then
you'd have a
what?
much lower rate of ovarian cancer and all these different
I
cancers.
gotta
But
be
it was
honest
designed.
with you. As you've been talking,
I've been mansplaining.
I have been. No, not that. You're starting to get a little sciencey on me. I started to glaze over a little bit. I don't know enough about my own female organs.
None of us
To
do.
be honest with you, I do know that I hate birth control more than anything in the world.
What part of it?
The way it makes you feel. I've tried a couple different kinds, and it is hell on earth. I'm always hesitant to talk shit because I'm like, my ex-doctor is going to listen. I also feel like a lot of OBGYNs don't really care if you live or die. And
Interesting take.
I broke up with a doctor because I felt like she was really mean to me. I called her crying because I was having these immense issues with my birth control. And I just was like, oh my God, I feel so brushed off. And that's a really tough feeling when you're talking about
your hormones.
I'm a very happy person. I have to say I'm super lucky. Like I have a pretty stable mindset. On the pill, I had suicidal ideations.
Sure.
Which was interesting because they're not suicidal thoughts. You're not sitting there saying like, I want to do this. You're just like, well, that would be interesting. So apathetically thinking about it. And I remember being like, this can't be good. And I talked to my husband about it and I was like, where do you think this is coming from? He's like, didn't you just start a new kind of? And I was like, oh shit.
I had that same experience in life where I had tried this new, sorry to arthritis medication maybe 7 years ago. And I didn't read any of the side effects. The guy told me to take it. I took it.
We always trust.
And this is why it's such an insidious and nefarious affliction, because you lose the ability to evaluate yourself. So I was on our old patio watching my two daughters play, which is always the highlight of my life. It's so fun to watch them interact and be nice to each other. And I was watching them and I was like, I don't even care about this. And then I was like, what's happening? I don't even fucking care.
It's
but
the
I had been
apathy.
feeling that way, yes.
Apathy
for like
is so
3
scary.
weeks, but it took them, the most obvious, like if I'm not enjoying that. And then I thought, I should read about that medication I've been on for 2 months. Of course, I look it up. Number one side effect is depression. I'm like, oh my God, this is depression. I actually didn't know what depression was. We're like, you wouldn't give a fuck that your kids were in front
I
of you.
know. I think a lot of people think depression is like sad.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're crying all the
Where
time.
it's like, I've experienced, based on medication, depression maybe twice in my life. It's not sad. It's
Yeah.
something completely different.
It's detachment from your being in a weird way that you don't give a fuck about anything.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah. Okay, Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. So, did you get cast? Did she call you? Did you audition?
Did you
How
guys
did
go
this
to lunch?
happen?
So,
Oh my God, lunch.
basically, I filmed Ramona and Beezus, and her and Selena Gomez are best friends. And she recorded a song for our movie in a scene where I'm running away from home. So cute. And because of that experience, she thought of me for this music video. My mom got contacted by
Scooter
her.
Oh
No.
my
But he was on the
God.
scene then.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
back then,
recall that.
probably.
I don't know enough about that to say
You mean
that, but I think
Voldemort?
Yeah, R.I.P.
R.I.P. But basically, I was told to like answer any call on my phone that's a number I didn't know. And of course, I miss a call from a number I didn't know, and I get a voicemail. It's from Taylor Swift.
Oh, do you still have it?
I had it for like 8 years, and then I accidentally deleted
Oh.
it. Oh, it was devastating. I cried and I cried and I cried.
The worst.
But it was her asking me to be in the Mean music video, and it was so spectacular. And then for her Speak Now re-release for Taylor's version, she asked me to come back for another video.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you losers. You didn't know that?
I feel so stupid.
July of last year.
You were in it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You got a whole resume sheet in front of you. That didn't show up.
So embarrassing, Dax.
I know.
But she asked me to come back again because Mean was on the Speak Now album. And then when she re-recorded Speak Now, she had some new releases. And I got to be part of one of those videos. And it was so fun.
Did you have lunch that time?
We're like friendly now, so meals have been had. And my BFF, Sabrina Carpenter, just spent the better half of a year
Tour.
opening for Taylor on tour.
No
And they played
kidding.
I know.
together.
She's such a babe. My girl Sabrinesies.
You're so in the know.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I'm not. Thank you. Interesting.
These people that you're referencing are very hot and hip.
Sabrina and I have been connected at the hip since we were little ladies.
That's how Sorry, I keep comparing you to her.
It's all right. I love her.
She's friends with all the actors her age because you're lonely and you don't see other kids, and then all of a sudden you see kids. Like, it's such a natural
You grow up
thing.
together.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of my friends are, it's weird because I feel like I'm not in the know. I don't really go anywhere unless I have to. I'm like, what do you call it? Like, I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah, that's what
Ambivert.
they're calling it now.
love social time. I love hanging out with friends. I crave it, and I can do it for a week at a time, no breaks. But then I also need like a week to recover.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I'm like that, I think.
Yeah. Okay, Dark Knight Rising. Congratulations.
Thank
in a
you.
Nolan movie. And in that one, no less. 2 seasons of Fargo. She was Colin Hanks. I was
my
watching
God,
the clip
I
and I was like, oh my God, that
forgot.
is you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were so cute in
Little
it.
mushroom head looking ass.
Yes.
What a
Gus
show.
Grimley's daughter.
Yep. I was such a big fan of the movie Fargo, so being part of that was really special.
Okay, so by 2018, you've been in a ton of things. I just want to mention, I was going to say at the very beginning of this, you've been in 60 films and TV shows.
I have?
Yeah, I mean, that's what
what
I'm
it says.
reading, but let's just say a lot. May would have to navigate these conversations with directors that must have been maddening for her because she was 20 years old playing someone who's 16 or 17. She's getting treated in a way, and she's been acting the longest on this set other than Craig T. Nelson. Like, she's been in more stuff than Lauren Graham and Peter and I combined. And she has to placate these dumb fucking directors who are treating her like a child. I found myself so angry in her defense.
There's two sides to this because when there's a director on set, whether I've worked with them before or I haven't worked with them before, I always want to make sure I'm in service of their vision because they're the director and I want this to be what they want. That being said, there is still a level of mutual respect that should be shown. Most of the time there is, but sometimes there isn't. And it's a bit of a difficult thing for me because I want to be easygoing. I want to be easy to work with. I want to be in service of their vision, whether I agree with it or not. But then there's a certain point where you're like, hang on a minute. But I always assume the best going in unless something happens. For the most part, I've had good experiences.
Oh, that's good. Because if I were you, at times I would have been like, hey, 10 years ago, I worked with Nolan. Whatever you think you're explaining to me, I worked with fucking Nolan, okay?
Some directors, I have to say, like, it's just a skill to talk to actors.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't have it. And that's okay. I feel like I've gotten really good at reading in between the lines, but I don't think it's something that we should have to do. To be a good director, I think part of that is being good with actors.
I think minimally they
Big
should take a
time.
single acting class, every director.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
As I think every actor should be on the other side as a producer or a director so they understand what pieces of shit we are.
Actors are the worst.
They're
I'm not saying
selfish.
that.
Yeah, they'll derail your whole movie. It's good to see both sides.
I say that half joking, half not. I've worked with some real difficult people. But one of the reasons I fell in love with my husband was because of how good he was with actors, so talented in all those ways. And I was like, oh my God.
Okay, so for
So
me,
hot.
it would
So
appear
cute.
from the outside there's two big seminal moments in your career. One would be Kissing Booth. I have to imagine the enormous success of that changes the landscape for you. And then the act.
Yep.
And they're happening at virtually the same time.
So weird.
I would imagine you had gotten used to a certain pace of this and you'd been working forever, but then some other gear kicked in. And was that even a radical adjustment for you?
Having a lot of years in the business already and having some semblance of being known by the public in a smaller way helped prepare me for that jump in public attention. I think it is so insane when people who have truly never been in the public eye before become so famous overnight. My heart goes out to them because it is not easy. That is like a crazy jump.
That was me. Never been on TV, and then I was in punk.
Everyone's eyes are on you all of a sudden.
My girlfriend then was in Guatemala studying Spanish. She was gone for 4 weeks. The show had aired while she left. She came home. We were riding bikes down the Strand in Santa Monica, and like 30 people had screamed my name. And she's like, what the fuck happened
happening?
since I was gone?
No, literally, if you have no preparation for it at all, the first time I was ever recognized, I was like 7 from my appearance on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Those things had been happening throughout my life. I got familiar with people being like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Or saying something really out of pocket and weird about my personal life on occasion.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I get it. But then it happened bigger, and I was like, whew, I am so glad I knew a little bit about this
Oh, I know.
beforehand because it got so much crazier. It was a big jump. It's interesting, all the stuff surrounding Kissing Booth and all the craziness.
Well, it's like one of the biggest movies Netflix has ever had, right? 1 in 3 people who have watched that movie have watched it more than once.
The rewatch rate was something that Netflix was so flabbergasted by.
It's like High School Musical or something.
Exactly. And it was also one of those films that put Netflix's rom-com category on the map. And I remember Ted Sarandos bringing it up in this conference.
To shareholders or something.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, this is insane.
A big deal,
It was a
yeah.
big deal, and I feel so grateful, and it was so incredible and so crazy and so hectic. Netflix didn't care about the Kissing Booth, the first one, when we filmed it. It wasn't like the studio was involved, really. We were kind of treated like a bit of an indie film. They were like, here's a little bit of money, go make this movie.
You just kicked for the audience. You get a cute little
Go
kick.
make it.
A little kick in the butt.
yeah.
They're like, go. And then the trailer dropped, and the trailer got so much attention. And then Netflix all of a sudden was like, we want to put together a little press for you guys. And we're like, oh, do you
I
now?
want to sign you for a 2 and a 3.
Exactly. We're like, oh, you do.
What do you think it was about that movie?
Watching it, it's an homage to the John Hughes era. We obviously cast Molly Ringwald in it because we love Molly Ringwald.
She's
And
the greatest
also
of
we
all
were
time.
like, ooh, this will be even more of an on-the-nose homage. And she's so great. I love her so much. Also, that kind of comfort movie that's easy to follow. I think it resonated so well with audiences all across the globe because even if you don't speak English, you can absolutely follow what's going on.
It's like Cirque du Soleil.
It's a comfort watch. It's easy to turn on. It's cozy. It's silly. It's cute. Kissing Booth knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be anything else. And I think
Right.
people like that. It's interesting because it was so massive and so adored. And then just like anything that gets so massive and big and adored, it also had people clamoring to tear it down and say like how shitty and cheesy and all these things. It's like, yeah. It's supposed to be fun and easy to watch. Like, we're not
Right.
trying to win an Oscar here. We saw our Rotten Tomatoes score. We're like, yeah, we know. What are you trying to prove? We know.
Yeah.
We love Where Life Has Gone. We
you're
love
married.
Steven and you're
I know.
married.
He's like literally literally my best friend. We can talk about anything. It's so nice. I describe it as it feels like you're at a sleepover every night. It's like so fun. And we're like, oh, you want to go to bed and watch Frasier?
Was there any pushback, not from like commenters, but family, because you're very young and you're married, were people like, it's a little young to get married?
In my personal life?
Yeah.
Not at all.
You seem 35.
I've been in a world in which I've been exposed to like adulthood. I had like a mortgage by the time
You've had
I
a
was
career for 20 years.
Responsibility makes you grow up a little bit faster. And my family and everyone in my life, they adore Steven. He's like the easiest person to love. They were so stoked.
But I saw you getting interviewed by Chelsea when she was filling in for Kimmel. And I was feeling bad for you. As you just asked that was something I was going to bring up, is that like everyone you tell this wonderful thing to, all the older people can't resist saying to you.
I know. It's
and
so
I would be
funny.
annoyed by that.
I think the hard part about when you get married, it's either you're too young, you're too old, how long have you been dating each
Sure.
other, you don't know each other that well, you've been together too long, where's the ring? There's never the right way to do it without someone commenting on it. I expect a little bit of that here and there from the public eye.
Well, everyone's
people-
projecting their
Yes.
own.
Absolutely.
their
And
own
also,
shit.
like, my grandmother got married at 18, and it was so normal back then. If someone got married at 24 when my grandma was 18, they'd be like, what is taking her so long?
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna
everyone's different.
Point that out. Yeah, that just 2 generations ago, every single person was married at 22. And then ironically, the later people have waited, the divorce rate has gone up. That's correlation. I'm not saying it's causation, but it is ironic.
It's also interesting when you get married or when you're getting married. People love to give you unsolicited advice about marriage.
Wait till you have a kid.
I can't imagine.
Oh, it's
boy.
I can't
nonstop.
imagine because the minute we got married, people were like, oh, buckle up. Marriage is hard. And we're sitting here like, wonderful. Thank you for telling us newlyweds that. We love to hear it.
I know I love my brother to death, but if he tells me one more time my girls are going to be crazy when they're teenagers, I just
my
want to go
God.
like, we don't know that yet. Let's just fucking shut up about
Yeah.
this. Let's assume the best. Now, one sweet thing you could choose to see is, I think maybe under that for some people, this would be the case for me. I could not have loved Brie more. I was with a girl for 9 years from 21 till 30. Loved her so much. I still love
do,
her.
yeah.
Still love her. So I think what you're picking up on is someone like me might say that to you because I would think like, well, I couldn't have loved anyone more. And it's so hard to grow together at the same pace. And you're really hearing someone's bittersweet relationship with it. You're almost remembering how much you loved someone at one time when you were younger and it didn't work out. You're really just witnessing them processing that. It really is almost them acknowledging that they love someone so deeply
Before?
in their 20s, let's say, when
When
they were
someone
younger.
says like marriage is hard.
Just you're so young to get married. That one to me smells a little bit more of the remembering how much they loved somebody and that they couldn't make it work.
Whenever people kind of give me advice or have never been in the position that I'm in, being like a person that grew up in the public, it's such a unique experience. I take everyone who hasn't had that kind of thing, if they say something to me, with a bit of a grain of salt because I know every single person is different. My life and my experience may not apply to that person's life and their experience, and it's so different. Maybe theirs is more complex. Maybe mine is more complex.
Just different.
It's just different.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't compare.
So it's like I never get too upset or flustered when I'm annoyingly hearing the same advice over because I'm like, that's okay because you and I are different.
that's healthy.
Here's a part where we could acknowledge our great privilege, and this is certainly the case in my marriage, which is there are 2 adults that are inordinately fulfilled from their occupation. That's a totally different dynamic than 2 people that totally regret the job path they chose. They're frustrated and they have a lot of
It's the
economic
butterfly
pressure.
effect, yeah.
Yeah, and then now this relationship supposed to cure all that. It's so apples to oranges in a lot of cases.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that you're married. Now that I've met you, I like it.
I have to say, I like that I'm married too, man. It's great. Me and my husband keep our relationship fairly private, but I don't really give a shit what anyone that doesn't know me thinks. Of course I care what my family and my friends think, but like people
Yeah.
online that I have no fucking idea who they are, I don't care what they think about my relationship, but there is so much joy that we share together that sometimes I'm just like, if people could just see that, they would get it, but I also don't really need them to get it.
Then they might just be jealous of it. There's no winning.
Yeah, I don't really need to explain it to the people that are just social media
Aren't
like
interviewing you?
commenters. No, that's totally different. You guys are great. People say the craziest shit online about everything.
I know you don't like advice.
No, I like advice. Like I said, you have been in the position I have been in. That's a different thing.
Right. So one thing is, I'm stealing this joke from Paul F. Tompkins. I always want to give him credit. But you have to remember when you read a comment.
I love advice about social media because it does drive me crazy.
Okay, this one is the most helpful for me.
Yes.
When I'm walking into 7-Eleven and there's a dude with a parrot on his shoulder and he says something fucking preposterous, I literally don't even hear it. I'm like, yeah, the dude's sitting there with a parrot on his shoulder. Yet I treat anyone who was able to type as if they're not the dude with the parrot on their shoulder. So I just, every now and then when I read one that really pisses me off, I'm like, and also, it's probably the dude with the parrot on his shoulder.
I like that. When we were talking about how my family has been such like a grounding factor for me and I care so much what they think of my life and of me, not in like a ridiculous way, but if they have something to say, they would never hesitate, number one. And number two, that's different. As someone who, like you're saying, the parrot on their shoulder, if they say something insane, I'm like... Okay.
You're making a lot of weird choices.
Yeah. You've got a fucking parrot on your shoulder and you're in 7-Eleven. Actually, that guy sounds kind of cool.
I know, I would smoke a joint with him.
I want to hang out with that person. I want to know how they got there.
Backstory.
Okay, we got to talk about we're the lucky ones. But before we do that, I do have to say, the first time I become acutely aware of you, obviously now as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her as Gus Grimleyson, and I remember this, I remember that. But the act... We fucking loved the doc.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, that documentary is pretty special.
Did Erin make that?
Erin Lee Carr?
Yeah, she did, right?
I love
She's
Erin.
a friend of ours.
Really close with my husband, too.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's
It's the good guy
so
club.
great.
So when you love a doc that much, it's always dicey when you see the scripted version. Often the doc's better. The act I loved so much, and you were outrageous. When I was watching you, I was like, it's hard for me to believe this person isn't Munchausen by proxy.
That's a very nice compliment.
You're so great. That's when I was like, oh, this gal is a force.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting to have that come out right around the same time as Kissing Booth.
Yeah.
It's perfect, though, for you.
So funny. I was so lucky. I auditioned for the act. I was not offered that role. I did not do Gypsy's voice in the audition. They didn't want anyone to. Once I got the role, I was like, guys, I kind of think we should do it.
Yeah, she talked like a baby.
It's a very huge part of the personality.
It's almost the most defining characteristic of her as a
Munchausen
character.
by proxy.
Yeah.
She was infantilized her whole life, and I don't know whether the cadence and the pitch was something that was due to that or was due to the procedures.
Did you ever hear from any of the real life people?
Gypsy sent me a message recently. We didn't have any contact when we were filming the show, but since she's been released, she reached out and we had a quick little exchange, which was really nice. But making that show was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, honestly.
And you met your husband on it.
I met my husband
He
on
was
it.
directing
and
two of the
I
episodes.
became friends with Patricia through it, and I became friends with Anna Sophia through it, and Nick Antosca, our showrunner. Of course, the friendships and the relationships I forged on that were fabulous, but also as an actor, wow, what an exciting piece of material, but also, you know, it's someone's real life. There's a big responsibility there. It's not like a biopic and that person's not alive anymore.
Exactly. She still exists and is somewhat in the zeitgeist.
Absolutely. It was exciting, but then I remember thinking to myself, if I mess this up, this could totally ruin my career. If I had done
you do a bad job
poor
at it.
job of that, I would have a very hard time getting work, most likely.
Very high risk.
A lot of risk, reward, but also really incredible.
Well, what's great is once you do that, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we can pretty much give her anything. It's such acting stripes
Thank
to have
you.
pulled off a role like that.
It's also so different from obviously who I am. I don't sound like that at all, of course, and I don't really move like that. I really enjoyed the idea of like stripping away any kind of vanity that I have on a lot of other sets. Getting to be so challenged with a character, it was a great experience. And having that real person exist too was scary, but it was also like, okay, really want to do it right.
In some weird way, you must, I don't know, was this your way in? The whole rule follower wanting to make mom happy, you can touch it a little bit, right?
No.
Okay. That's too big of a stretch.
I would have thought the same thing.
I think I like where your head's
Yeah.
at, but that's so extreme. I understand the connection. I think that pulling for things like that when you're preparing for a role, like that's not a wrong association or interpretation to make at all. But I really threw myself into that documentary, watched it so many times because I wanted to really feel that. I don't have a ton of real life experiences to try to pull from this. I'm not going to try. It's a pretty small pool who have Munchausen by proxy. And a lot, unfortunately, they're still in it.
Did you interview anyone else?
I didn't talk to anyone else, but I was on my article and YouTube hole and everything while preparing for the role. What's interesting, though, is I've had a lot of people come up to me and say crazy things like, my wife's like that with our son.
Oh, God.
It's wild when people see you do something as an actor and then associate you with being an expert in that category of some kind. And you're like, I'm sorry, I am an actor.
I'm not a psychologist.
I'm
or
not a
doctor.
psychiatrist or a psychologist.
Trying to deal with this
I
situation
know,
you're
and it's
dealing
like
with.
devastating. Someone's obviously saying this with deep pain and like confiding in you, and you're like, oh my God.
You wouldn't know this, but if you'd been along for the 6-year ride of this show, there's no condition we've been more obsessed with. We've talked about Munchausen more than any other
I'm
thing.
obsessed-
I'm mostly interested in that half of the parents are either nurses or in the
It's
medical
not
field.
half, but there's a fair percentage.
Way over index.
Because obviously they have access and they know
They have
stuff.
knowledge.
Yeah. But remember in Sixth Sense, I've been obsessed with it since I saw Sixth Sense when the Misha Barton ghost, she's puking and stuff. That's how
She
she
had it.
died.
Yes.
I got really scared of it and obsessed
She's
with it.
great with references. Sixth Sense. I mean, she shouldn't know that, Monica.
Isn't
She
it
should
kind
not
of
know
weird,
that.
though? Anyone can have a kid.
Right?
Don't even have to take driver's ed.
No requirements needed. You can just have a kid.
Yeah, the guy with the parrot
In
on his
fact,
shoulder.
some people are forcing people to.
Oh, we can definitely get into that, too.
For real, though, don't make people have kids who can't have kids. It's bad enough out there.
I absolutely agree with you.
Jesus.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We were the lucky ones. Your Polishness is really helpful in this. This is the true story based on
Georgia Hunter's novel,
about a Polish Jewish family separated at the beginning of World War II.
and they all survive.
The author, was she the child?
The author, Georgia, was the granddaughter of Addie Quartz, who's played by Logan Lerman. She was very close with her grandfather, but was not aware of his past at all because he didn't talk about it. It wasn't until he passed away that she found out that he was a Holocaust survivor.
Wow.
And there was a big family reunion that they all had. She decided to write this book and gather all this information from her family members about the entire family's time during the Holocaust. It was so wild.
So they're Polish. They're in Rodham. And right at the beginning, when the Nazis arrive, they get split up.
So they all get separated. The men are called to fight for the Russian army. From that town with like a hefty normal population, only I think 300 Jews survived from Rodham. And a huge portion of that 300 is this family. And we were the lucky ones, the Quartz family. I mean, I'm Jewish. And so filming something like this was incredible.
Again, you find yourself in this pattern where the responsibility you're taking on is kind of overwhelming. You have to do this in a way that's honorable.
Honorable. I can't share what it's like to be in the Holocaust, but I have ancestral roots to this subject matter, which was really helpful because it felt like a true honor to be able to play someone like that when I'm so proud to be who I am.
I was going to say, did it give you a sense that you didn't have before? Because like, you're like me, you're a mutt that grew up in America.
Yeah, my dad's not Jewish. My dad's from Arkansas. When you grow up in a family that is Jewish, there's no moment that you remember learning about the Holocaust. It's just talked about, as it should be. This is your heritage. I'm glad I wasn't blindsided in school by this crazy information that my blood is tied to. So my family's always been very educational about it, and we've always been very proud. We're not religious people. I celebrate the holidays because I love the tradition. Any excuse to get my family together, happy to do it. I fast on Yom Kippur, but that's more because it's tradition. I don't think it's washing away my sins or anything, but also if it is, wonderful. I'm doing it.
right.
Unintended consequence would
Right?
be lovely.
I don't know what I believe in exactly. I just think I'm proud of what the Jewish people have overcome and proud to be a Jewish person.
Yeah, what I can imagine is you feel a certain distance from it all growing up in Simi Valley with an Arkansanian dad. And then you go to Romania, you're on the other side of the world, and maybe the reality that you would be forced to contemplate while you're there is like, oh, yeah, me too. I would have been rounded up. I really am this. And had I been born 70 years before, I would imagine it collapsed the distance a bit.
Yes, you feel that way, and then you feel guilty for feeling that way because you aren't in that situation. You're an actor pretending, and then you feel like, do I have any right to be emotional right now? But also, this really happened. It's overwhelming. The emotion comes from the grief of the whole Holocaust. It's such a washing over you feeling. But when filming that show, we really all tried to keep it light. We need needed to.
It would have killed you, yeah.
I have experienced small encounters with anti-Semitism in my life before this show, but I'll never forget when I first got social media. One of the first hate comments I ever got, it was a picture of me and my grandma. It was a selfie, and this guy commented and was like, "Looks like Hitler missed one with your grandma."
Whoa.
Oh my God.
I know.
Whoa.
I called my mom and I was like, "This is terrible."
There are real monsters out there. And on here, we often try to humanize everyone, and everyone is, and everyone has their own story and stuff. But it's true that there are people out there who have just so much fucking hate.
Not talking about this guy with what I'm about to say, but some people don't know. Some people are truly just ignorant.
There's different levels.
There's
of
different levels of intention. We all have a family member that says some wild shit, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I know you didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But
There's so many layers. A lot of it's just straight up ignorance. We've watched a lot of great docs on this. And one doc in particular we watch is a woman who was Arab or
Pakistani.
she starts interviewing these white nationalists, these white supremacists, and they're like, no, but not you. And what you're realizing is they hate this group, and this woman's the first one they've met of this group. And you can even see they're having all this cognitive dissonance that this is the person I hate, but actually, now I'm talking to this person. Actually, this is the first one I ever met.
Yeah, she was saying,
It's
like,
not
people
excusing
call
it, but
me
it's-
shit skin.
He got really uncomfortable. He's like, we would never call you
Well,
that.
yeah, she was like, would you call me that? And he was like, well, no, not you. And she's like, well, I am that.
And he's like, no. I mean, I don't have sympathy for him, but you're seeing Hitler had a whole worldview and a plot and a plan. And then there's dum-dums. There's like all kinds
there's
of
all
shit going on.
kinds.
Yeah.
The problem with the dum-dums is that they follow willingly.
Yes.
And it takes a
I
group.
think the dum-dums can sometimes be changed and listen, and that's me being super optimistic. I'm still young enough and still like to believe that most people are innately good,
Yeah.
but also I've had plenty of experiences where I'm like, is that true? I hope so. It's tough because, like you're saying, there's people who plan and plot, and then there's dum-dums, but
Yeah.
the dum-dums can be dangerous because
the most.
I don't
they
even know
don't
what
know.
I don't even know what I'm saying. I just know that
I
when
know
I
what
was
you're
watching
saying.
this scene, I'm like, there's so much happening
There
right
is,
here
there is.
other than the black and white of it all.
It's funny too because there's people like my co-star Logan Lerman, who's one of my greatest friends in the world. We'll post a picture with each other. He's very classically handsome.
I agree.
He's 100% Ashkenazi Jew. Then there's moi, and a lot of people, if they describe me as pretty, they would say I'm uniquely pretty. I'm an unconventional pretty, which I agree with. I have a unique face. I don't think I'm ugly. A lot of people would fight me on that. But it's interesting because we're both Jewish. We're standing right next to each other, and they'll be like, oh my God, Logan, so hot, so amazing. What's that fucking pig doing next to you? Like all this
Oh
stuff.
my-
It feels like a form of anti-Semitism. Maybe it's not. I don't necessarily want to call anything that's like that anti-Semitism, but I'm like, because he's good looking to the conventional eye or something. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. You can't
Traditionally
dispute that
handsome.
Logan's a handsome guy.
Right.
You can dispute that I'm conventionally pretty because I'm not.
Well, based on Aryan standards, by the way.
Right. And so the same people who comment making fun of girls who have like the filler in the lips and the nose and the tits, those same people commenting making fun of those girls are the same people commenting making fun of me. And then they get mad when people like me show up to a red carpet looking all different because you bullied people into this appearance and you're still not happy. It's a very confusing thing. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but it's annoying. I don't know. I don't know exactly know the point of the roundabout, but it brought me to that because it's like you can stand next to someone in the same world and the same show as the same background.
For me, the frustration there is minimally something should make you happy. None of it makes you happy.
Do you find yourself ever guilty of being way overly judgmental of someone you don't know? I've caught myself being an asshole in my own head
Yes, of course.
about someone I don't know, and then I'm like, hang on. This is what hurts my feelings so much. How can I do that? I'm not a psycho who types everything I think online, but then I catch myself, I'm like, okay, this particular age of social media, like it's just fun to be an asshole sometimes. And I think there's gotta be some scale tipped that changes that. I'm lucky I have pretty good self-esteem for the most part because the amount of things that you see about yourself online, it takes a toll. Thank God I'm able to be like, oh, I'm not gonna change myself because this person doesn't think I'm attractive.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be in Beverly Hills, and then I'll have this thought. I'm like, it's so weird because everyone looks the same. Like, I'll be judgmental. Who would want to look all the exact same? I have that thought. But then my next thought is, oh, I know what it is to hate how I look. And I have really a lot of compassion. I get to that point. I have a shitty thought, but then I think ultimately I track it
You
down.
track it and you fix it.
And then I find out their Instagram handle and then I yell at them on it. No.
But I do think, yes, social media has had so many negative effects, but there's this uptick. I'm hesitant to call it a trend, but right now it's a trend to call out other women when they're being shitty to other women for no reason. And I think that's really cool that we've gotten to this place. There's a lovely sector of social media where girls are like, no, let's all be really nice to each other because we're all we've got. Female friendships are really important here.
Yeah, you would hope to see the power of community correcting people's behavior.
The
That's what
scales
social
tip so
primates are
far
supposed
one
to
way,
do.
and then they have to be evened out somehow.
The only thing that makes me mildly optimistic is that every subsequent generation hates what the generation above them did. Hopefully at some point the younger kids will be like, it's so embarrassing to act like that because they're older and they did that. I mean, that's really my only optimism is they'll be like, oh my God, they fought about politics their entire existence on planet Earth. We're not going to do that.
I don't think that generation's come yet, though.
I'm hoping my daughters are a part of it.
maybe the 9-year-olds.
Yeah. Just to put one more point on, we were the lucky ones. It's a very abstract thing. You learn about it in history. But I think if you find yourself in Europe and you can make the attempt. My mom and I went to Dachau in Germany when I was 17 and stood there. Talk about something getting very real in a big hurry. I turned to my mom and I'm not spiritual and I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in anything. But I looked at her and I'm like, it's so heavy here. And my mom was like, I know, it's like soul crushing. And then you're trying to make peace with the fact that you can see the town.
Did you see Zone of
I'm
Interest?
dying to see it.
No.
It's that.
Kind of willful disbelief.
It's a German family living in paradise right next to Auschwitz. You're never inside the camp, but you can hear it. You can see the smoke. It's so chilling. I also went to visit, I don't want to botch the name because I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a concentration camp outside of Berlin. It's the only one I've ever been to. I was there for a long time. This is insane, but I'm not going to get emotional. I'm going to keep myself together. I was trying to remove myself from it, just listening to the facts. There was just so random, I don't even remember what it was, but just like a point. And then I was like, I have to get out of here. I was sobbing. It was insane. It was like a heaviness. It's hard to explain. It was like a feeling.
It is, and I don't even believe in that stuff.
I do, but I don't know what it is that I believe in. I feel like energy is the wrong word.
To me, what it felt like is, when you learn about black holes and it's exerting so much gravitational pull that it crushes everything that comes within its perimeter, there was like a density to the ground you're standing on where too many people have died in this one spot and it's palpable. It's like condensed gravity.
Have you ever been to
something.
Savannah, Georgia?
Yeah.
My mom is from there. I spent many a summer.
They say it's haunted because of all the land it was built on, that all this murder happened.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole book on that.
Horton Hears a Who?
Yes.
A person's a person, no matter how small.
You were in Horton.
I
Hears
was
a
in
Who.
Horton Hears
Yeah, I think that's why it's in my head.
No, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And history, you do feel it. We were just in India. You feel the weight of history, whether it's ghosts or not. Life happened there and death happened there.
The reason that Savannah, they say so, because of all the plantations
sure.
that all this
And
like
shipping.
stuff was built on. That's the thing that is so weird about the U.S. All these other countries that you go to are like, hey, here are some memorials and here's some shrines for the horrible things we've done that we want to correct and honor. You come to the U.S. and they're like, we've never heard of slavery. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's a good documentary by Michael Moore called Who to Invade Next. And he takes different customs from different countries and says, look how they're doing it. We should steal this. Let's invade and steal this. To your point, he shows the ritual in Germany, which is every kid in a school, they have this nationwide week where they sit with what happened there and they make all the kids go home and they give them a box and they say, you have to put anything from your life you want to save in this box. And they have to bring it to school. And they have to confront the notion of like, that's what happened to everyone. They got to condense their entire existence into a box. And they have to process that. And they do it. We don't do anything like that.
No.
No, we're just sweep under the ruggie.
When I went to Germany, I was amazed by how apologetic the entire country was.
Yeah.
Still.
My grandmother, who's almost 85, she was nervous to ever travel to Germany, and she went to Germany and she was beyond impressed with, she felt comfortable there.
The knee jerk, and I get it, by the way. It's like, I didn't own slaves. I'm not to atone for something I never did. I think that's why we don't, is we're like, well, we didn't do that. But obviously, no one in Germany at this point, every
Exactly.
World War II vet is almost dead. They're not doing it because those people personally bear responsibility. They're doing it so that something like this can't ever happen in this country that they love so much. So it's like this reminder of like, this
Exactly.
thing can happen in a place you love. And so we got to remember this so it never happens happens again. And that's the purpose. It's not to lay blame on the people that had nothing to do with it.
I don't know anything about the German government right now, so forgive me, but like it feels very open and liberal and pleasant.
Yeah, I agree. They seem to be not ever running from their responsibility.
They're not
of
very
that
defensive.
history.
We're defensive here.
I also don't want to speak too broadly, just in case
I know
people are
someone's
like,
like,
oh,
just
like,
left.
by the
Germany's
way,
horrible.
here's
Well-
like a whole subreddit how that's
Oh, they
not
have
true.
Nazis there.
We have Nazis too.
It's hard to go to a place that doesn't. India, ding, ding, ding. We were seeing the swastika everywhere. I was like,
Well,
oh, this
that
is such
no,
a
but it
wild.
wasn't a swastika. They weren't
Well,
like waving
India
a
had the swastika long before Hitler weaponized the swastika.
But he flipped it.
Yeah.
No, I have
I
pictures
think
of
it is flipped.
It's not for sure because I was like blown away. We were seeing these pictures.
No, I know. There's been a couple times where I've forgotten it's like a Buddhist symbol.
Yeah, it's
Hindu,
totally. It
yeah.
doesn't.
Hindu,
it
sorry,
doesn't-
yeah,
no.
It doesn't mean that, and it's all over the place. And I was like, it is so.
It's
weird
alarming
to
though to see it because it is so close.
he made it the most like.
The symbol that
Was
unifies
peace.
peace.
Yeah.
I was in Portugal recently and I went to this little street market and went to go buy a headband. And there was a necklace that had the Hindu symbol for peace on it. And I was like, I like didn't realize. It took me a long time. And then I was like, oh, realization washed over me. And I was like, phew.
Yeah, you realize how powerful symbols are.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, what's coming up is A Family Affair with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron.
That's right.
That's on
Biatch.
Netflix. We Were the Lucky Ones is on Hulu.
I have Despicable Me coming out this year too.
Oh my goodness.
Exciting.
I know. So excited.
Yeah.
You guys, sorry, that's so exciting.
My kids are doing backflips
I know.
in anticipation.
I'm so excited.
But A Family Affair with Nikki Kitty.
Can you believe?
No.
Can you
I
believe?
refuse
And
to.
Zachy Effie?
Zachy Effie.
Nikki
What a
Kitty and
good
Zachy Effie.
crew.
With all those muscles.
And Kathy Batesy.
no.
wow.
Katie Batesies?
Katie Batesy. It's a comedy.
It is.
It's so funny.
It's a film or a series?
Yeah, it's a film. I just saw a newer cut of it. It's not totally finished yet, and I'm so excited.
Oh, that's the
That's
best
awesome.
feeling.
Oh my God. Zach and Nicole are the leads, so we'll talk about them right now. So Nicole is like Nicole Kidman, Jesus Christ. Working with her, absolutely unbelievable. Hard to even imagine it was possible. And with Zach, couldn't get over how much I loved him when I was a young gal. Obsessed. Could not handle. Just thinking to myself,
Just
this
holding
is
your pillow at night.
literally just like, I love Zach Efron. And then getting to work with
Wow.
him. Holy moly.
circle.
So crazy.
Do you ever find yourself just staring longingly and then remind yourself, he's right here. You can't really look at him like
It's
that.
so funny because I love him, of course.
We
But
love him.
there's a point in which I stopped
You moved on.
pining. There's a point where you should stop idolizing people.
Well, you should stop and then you should rediscover it.
You should keep the childlike joy.
Yeah.
Yes, you should hold some space to still buy into the fantasy. I'm disillusioned by the whole thing, as you come to be.
I'm not disillusioned though. I'm a super big fan of people. Like I get really excited.
I mean the fantasy that you would be a movie star and you'd be floating on air and it would be so spectacular and all that stuff. That's been disillusioned. I know all the movie stars and no one's floating on a pink cloud. But I watched the Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman documentary.
Oh yeah.
So good. And I go, I'm going to buy right back in. I'm going to pretend that Paul Newman was floating along.
I like that.
Yeah, like I keep a little space.
No,
or
I
that
feel
Beckham.
you.
Somehow Beckham is.
Floating.
Yes. And I need a couple floaters. Still.
There's some floaters in my head. People are floating to me.
Okay.
Also, by the way, just a quick little pivot. You guys ever see floaters in your eyes?
Oh, yeah. It drives me nuts.
Isn't that cataracts?
No.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm experiencing more floaters in my eyes than I ever have. And I saw a meme recently where someone's like, you guys ever see these things? And they like somehow drew what it feels
look like
to
amoebas.
see. They're little like wormy looking.
And you try to follow them, but you
and
can't.
they go away.
They're imperfections on the actual lens of your eye. So as you try to follow, because they're not in the center, you
No.
can stare at them.
No, they're like here.
You see
are
them,
they
and then you try to
always?
watch.
No, not always. It's a lot.
If you lay on your
I
back,
think you need to go to the
Monica,
optometrist.
lie on your back on the grass and look up at the blue sky. Not directly at the sun, but
Sounds
look
like
up at
the
the
best day ever.
Does sound
blue
nice.
sky.
Picnic time.
Look straight up and then just concentrate on your peripheral, and you'll see little amoebas.
What's your death row meal?
Probably Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm so pedestrian.
Wait, what'd you ask?
What's your death row meal?
Oh, death row meal.
And
I
that's
thought
what
she
you
said death
choose?
row
Oh,
meal.
no, Emily Burger and hot molten lava cake.
What about toffee pudding?
And toffee pudding on top of the hot lava. What's yours?
My mother's brisket.
Mom makes a brisket. Does she smoke it?
She bakes it for like 12 hours
Ooh.
in the oven. And it's so good.
Yes, I will come over
and
and try that
then
brisket.
peanut butter milkshake.
Oh, that's a
Great
good one.
bag.
Shake Shack used to have one, and then all these nut allergy people, they got rid of it.
They've ruined it for all of us.
I want to be sensitive, but it ruined my life.
Well, Joey King, I've really enjoyed this.
I got a little nervy coming here because I was like, I love this show. I was like, this is a really big podcast.
That's so
And I got eggs in my
I was
bag.
actually, I was on the phone with Sabrinesi's Carpentries right before, and I was like, going on Armchair Expert, and she was like, oh my God, I love Armchair Expert. And I was like, shit. That made me more nervous.
Yeah. People you know and like might listen.
They will, and they'll love it.
Allegedly.
Absolutely.
Allegedly.
TBD.
TBD.
Joey King, you're so fun. Everyone should see We Were the Lucky Ones, Hulu.
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me, A Family Affair, Uglies. We didn't even get into that, but that's for another episode.
So many projects.
Family Affair is so funny, you guys. Nicole Kidman's so angelic. Like, the fact that someone thought, let's cast Joey King as her daughter. That's hilarious.
Visually, that makes a lot of sense.
Are you crazy?
The alabaster skin, is that the right adjective?
You know, that's a word I'm not really familiar with.
Me
to be
either. I'm
honest with you.
using it like
That's
I know
right,
it,
that's
but
right.
I believe you.
alabaster.
My vocabulary is not huge, to be honest with you. Like, I barely.
You fooled us.
I did not graduate even 10th grade, so.
Yeah,
Well,
you
you're
did
doing
fool
great.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I
doing
would
good.
chuck you up as very bright.
I feel like I'm more street smart than I am book smart.
That's all that
There's
really
no difference.
matters.
I mean, that's smart. Smart. Stupid is as stupid,
Stupid
does.
does.
Smart is smart. Yeah.
That's what dumb people say. Smart is smart. That's what we say, and we don't know what we're talking about. I'm smart enough.
You're doing just fine.
I'm as smart as I need to be,
Yeah,
maybe.
you got 15 movies coming out. You're in the most
You're
successful.
married.
Yeah,
You've done
you're
it all.
You're already married.
I know.
I'm glad we got you before you retire next year. You're
Seriously.
so far down the
Oh
path.
my God. Never, ever.
Longevity,
All
baby.
right. Well, I adore you. Good luck with everything. This was really fun.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me.
I wore my special Brad Pitt
Oh, your cashmere.
cashmere
Is
for
that
you.
his brand?
One true.
I have a sweater.
God's
You do?
true
God's true
cashmere.
true.
Yeah, I wore it on our press tour when we did Bullet Train press tour.
Oh.
My stylist was like, hey, this is Brad Pitt's brand. I was like, oh, cool. We should check it on the press tour just because it's cool to wear his stuff while I'm working with him.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
guess-
God, we didn't
sorry.
even talk about that.
Let's do 1 second on it.
Please.
He's my very number one of anything, male or female.
He's your hall pass.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never been so delighted to just look and think about another human being as I have Brad Pitt. This was an example I gave back when I used to do stand-up is if I were dating Brad Pitt and we were on our way to like a weekend in Santa Barbara and then he pulled over on the side of the road and said, we have a flat tire, I think. Will you get out and change it? I go, oh yeah. And I'd get out. And if he drove away and left me on the side of the road, I would go, what a free spirit.
What is happening
God.
inside of your brain? What the fuck?
Look at him go.
Oh my God, you got it bad. You
real
little
bad,
simp.
real bad.
As bad as it can get.
That's
yeah, simp.
so funny. He's a float. He's
an
a
eye floater.
Well, floaters
He's
is
a little
shit.
amoeba in your eye. So Brad Pitt, fabulous. So wonderful to work with. That's a guy who I asked some advice to about the public dealings of things.
Yeah.
Boy, if anyone's ever.
And man, he's great. He's just such a sweetheart with sound advice.
Someone got mad at me in the comments.
Never heard
'cause
a bad thing about him, truly.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't interviewed any of his exes.
Yes, we have Gwyneth, and she's like, he's the best person.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. You asked some advice, which I think is smart of you. I never do that, and it's regretful.
I don't ever do that either, but I was going through a bit of a weird time, and I was like, listen, dog, we are locked in a studio together for 12 hours a day. I gotta talk to you about something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I be honest, though? My favorite person in the world growing up was my grandmother. Still is. She's 80, and not in the way that some people are like, oh, my grandparent's so cute. She's my girl. I can call her about anything. She's in her late 80s.
You'd party with her.
I have partied with
Right.
her.
Yeah.
I have partied with my grandma on numerous
Is
occasions.
she the one that gave you that cookie?
Oh, man. I wouldn't put it past her.
Does she have a cute name like Grandma something?
Elaine.
Grandma Elaine, but there's no shorter version of it?
Her friends know her as Little E.
There we go. I had a hunch. Okay,
Yeah.
there it is.
She's 4'8",
Little-
so she's Little E.
Oh, she's
love
so
it.
cool.
But also, so whenever I take her to like my premieres, because I love bringing her, she gets so excited. I have to specify to my publicist or something to make sure the theater has a booster seat for her, because otherwise she can't see the screen.
Lily.
You know, she should have sat on Brad Pitt's lap for the Bullet Train
She
premiere.
would have loved it. God. It's funny. When you ask about Brad Pitt, my grandmother, my mother, me, my friends, we all find him to be so alluring. He's an enigma.
Yeah, he transcends age, science, math, liberal arts education.
Elite universities, Hellenic studies.
Oh my God.
Okay, for real, Joey King.
Okay.
This was so much fun.
Oh,
I like
what else
you.
can we talk about? I just don't want this conversation to end.
I like that.
That is
That's how
so
I am.
cute.
No wonder you like being married. I get it.
I know, I
I'm
like
the
to
same way.
talk.
Yeah, I'm a
I'm
chatterbox.
like,
I know. And my wife's like, I need a break. I need a long break. And I'm like, then I'm going to start a podcast. I mean, truly.
Wait,
I'm
that's
too much
so
for one
funny.
person to have to
That's
listen to.
great.
Were we in the airport? We were just walking down the street in Austin. We had just been to India, and we're walking down the street, and he's just talking.
We were in the
like,
airport, Austin Airport.
Just talking
yourself?
kind of to himself, to me, but didn't need to hear any reaction from me. There was like 10 seconds of silence, and he's like, what else can I talk about? I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah, I
my
was like,
God.
oh, it could be fun.
What
to
other
talk
things
about.
can I say?
Dax, are you the youngest?
I'm the middle child.
Okay. I'm the youngest, and my sisters were so much older. I would just talk to myself to entertain myself all the time.
I'm very little brother, and it's a similar gap, so 5 years younger.
So you were just like,
I got to win this guy over here. I was like, what can I think of to say? This might be funny. I'm going to try this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was always trying to like entertain, be a peacekeeper, and make my sisters laugh, and wanted them to love
I
me.
just wanted him to invite me like on whatever walk he was taking in our neighborhood. Like, hey, you want to come along? Like, yes, let's
Yes,
do
I
this.
do.
Yes, I'll talk the whole time. Don't worry.
Bring earplugs.
I'll keep you entertained for the whole thing. My sisters would invite me places with their friends when I was a kid. Oh, I'm chasing that feeling as an adult now. Like, what is that feeling of euphoria that comes when your
Approval
sister,
from older people.
your older sibling, is so much cooler than you to yourself for such a long time?
Yeah.
I wish I had that.
And now I'm like, but I'm the coolest person I know. So how can I,
don't
get this
get this.
feeling?
It's a tough transition for
reconcile
both of us. I understand. I'm now the coolest guy ever. Okay, I love
All right.
you. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do
Yeah,
a part
You're going to do
two.
45 more movies.
Part
and
twosies.
let's do it again.
Okay, great.
Stick around for the fact check. Because they're human, they make lots of mistakes.
Hello.
Hello.
People like the John Cena episode a lot. Makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I've been
fun
hearing
episode.
so much really good feedback about that. People really, really enjoyed hearing his story.
Good.
It's such a wild story.
Yeah, it's very niche.
It is. And like all these things that almost impossible to happen, which he's aware of. He's the one saying it.
Yeah.
He's like, not good enough to play at a D3 school. That doesn't work out. So then this thing happens. And that doesn't work out. Then I end up over here. And then just kind of zigzags his way
Well,
to
he didn't-
major stardom and the biggest WWE wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, it's just a testament of not giving up, following what's in front of you. Mm-hmm. That's a good lesson.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like someone who ever got in his own way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, his ego seems to be very in check, unlike mine.
Well,
I'd be quick to think people were out to get me and
right.
all this crap.
Yeah, sure. I thought of something I wanted to ask you.
Oh, good.
Do you ever use the phrase, it's all downhill from here?
Yeah.
And how do you use it? What does it mean to you?
Well, that's a tricky question because I know what it means, which is like the easy part's ahead.
Exactly.
You've climbed the hill. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
But you're right. People say it and it sounds like things are going to get bad.
Exactly. Like it's all
Yeah.
downhill from here, which is how I am inclined to say it.
Okay.
Like
Let's
it's
workshop
bad.
this.
It's bad.
It's usually past tense. That's what's tricky.
It's like your dad broke his hip.
It's
It's all downhill from here.
But it's all uphill from here.
Yeah.
that's the whole
I mean, yeah,
point.
that's why I think.
Yeah. You're right. I think it's come to mean the opposite thing of what it was supposed to mean.
Yeah, which is interesting. The reverse is not true. Like you would never say it's all uphill from here, meaning good stuff is coming. Like we do recognize uphill's bad.
We don't like going uphill.
No, we know
No,
that.
Yes.
The downhill part's more confusing.
Although I got to say, I really like the uphill part of my hike. I did the 6 mile hike again this morning.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to do it once a week now.
Wow.
And I love the uphill part
Really?
because going downhill, you have to really protect your body a lot.
Sure, it hurts your shins.
You could really fuck up your knees and you got to kind of almost be more conscious of how you're going down the hill. Uphill, I don't even think about it. I'm like listening to something and I just like kind of wake up on top of the hill.
Wow.
Right.
Also, uphill is the workout.
Yeah. And I do it enough that it's not a thing for me. which I'm grateful for.
That's amazing.
It's just much easier to climb for me than to go downhill.
Yeah, I understand.
Descend. It's all a descent from here.
That
Doesn't sound as bad.
It's the word down.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
It should be good. You're right. I agree. For some reason, last night was I was wrestling Delta on the couch. I was having so much fun fucking with her. And she was really in the mood to play. I was like wrestling her and grabbing her when she was trying to watch TV.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, thee and thou. I kept going like, thou must know if thee wants to be wrestled. Thee does want to be wrestled with thou. I was using thou and thee and
Wordplay.
whilst and whilst.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I was trying to speak, I guess, Shakespearean
Castle
a bit.
talk.
I was going back and forth on whether or not I thought thou meant myself or thee meant myself. I think thee means myself.
It does.
But I would also say,
No, it's them. Thee is the other person.
It
I
is?
think it's like give forth
thee must
to thee. I
take
give
thou
forth to
shirt.
thee.
Thou must take thee shirt. Then it sounds like the and not yours. But I found that I would have total conviction I was using it right. And then 5 seconds later, I'd realize, oh, no, I think it's the other way around. And then I'd have total conviction that I was using it right.
This
so
is like
I don't think she learned much
Yeah.
from the exercise.
Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it was that helpful, but that's okay. Not everything has to be educational.
No, or a learning experience.
Yeah, a learning moment.
Right. How was dinner?
Dinner was lovely.
Was it lovely?
Dinner was lovely.
A leisurely dinner? Or were people nervous about it being a school night?
It was pretty leisurely. So I had a little dinner at All Time for their cookbook.
Yeah.
They just had a cookbook come out that's delicious.
You got a copy of it last night, or did you already have a copy?
I already had a copy. So yeah, we had a dinner there. It was a small group, but we had the gazebo to ourselves.
Oh, nice.
It was really magical.
It was warm
and
out last
beautiful.
night.
It was nice out. It was funny though because obviously we're also comfortable with each other that we get into crazy conversations, right?
Yeah.
So we got into one that this is a recurring conversation within the group that you've been privy to, where we talk about how flexible our nostrils are.
Oh, right. Yes. There's a famous photo with vapes in our noses.
Sure. And Amy has very flexible nostrils.
Elastic.
Very elastic. And so does Eric.
And me.
And you.
I'm one of the champions.
But Eric and Amy both were putting their wedding rings in there.
Okay, great.
Eric could get his complete, you couldn't see it anymore.
He could have snorted it.
It was
Yeah.
fully up.
Yep.
Amy couldn't get hers because she was like, mine just stopped. Like it stopped.
She has a solitaire diamond that's going to be jagged on there.
No. It was a circle ring.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like the opening stops like mine do. Like mine stop here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though mine are pretty big, but they're
not very elastic.
not deep.
Right. Yep. Cavernous.
Yeah, but Eric's are deep.
They're more cavernous. Yeah.
So he put his full ring in, which all to say it got a little ruckus,
Okay.
Raucous. And
Was the server at all uncomfortable?
no, everyone
Okay.
was so happy. And Ashley and Tyler, who own All Time, they're incredible. They are my friends. And they came over and they were like, it's so fun to see a group like this and a group being so happy and enjoying their time and not like just like sitting and like cutting up their food. But she said something like, most people who come in these groups are just like so polite. And then we were like, yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was lovely, delicious, full steak.
I know I
fish.
would have passed that test because I can put 2 of my whole fingers in my nostril. And so either one is the size of a ring.
How far up though can you go?
My whole nail has
the whole
disappeared,
nail
right? Yeah.
is gone.
I'm very elastic in there.
Yeah. Are you
As-
deep?
As was proven by that terrible photo shoot I did.
Okay.
Skydiving.
Well, as we were talking about this,
Yeah.
it came up. Somebody said, like, has anyone seen that picture Dax keeps talking about?
Right.
And then I said, I think I have seen it, but then I didn't know if I made that up.
I wish I had a copy. I probably like the Armchair Anonymous guest who, it was on a roller coaster ride and her boyfriend wanted to buy the photo and she didn't allow it. Now
Yeah.
she deeply regrets it. Similarly, I was so disheartened by that photo. I certainly didn't save it. It was like kids people. It was like young people, teen people.
So if people don't know, what we're talking about is a picture of you skydiving.
Yeah, with a man on my back.
The man on your back, and apparently your nostrils are very big.
They're the size of like eyeglasses. I look like Porky the Pig. Everyone in my life agreed it was a very terrible photo and a bad idea.
Yeah.
And my publicist acknowledged it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was a misfire.
Okay.
We had no idea your nostrils were that elastic. No one really did.
Well,
I don't even know if I knew
It was
until
the first time. It was a learning moment, a teaching moment.
A teachable moment.
Some commenter's gonna find it for sure, and
They're gonna have to hack into like the people database or something.
Yeah. Well,
did you happen to read the article about these hackers that got into one of the casinos in Vegas?
no.
And they sent like a ransomware note. They basically, first they said, we are in your whole system. And what they did is they posed as an employee that had forgotten their password, and they knew everything about the employees. So the IT person did give them their access code.
Uh-huh.
And they basically said, hey, we're about to turn stuff upside down. They knew that. They didn't take it terribly serious. And then all of a sudden, like, everything started going crazy in the hotel and the casino. Okay. The cards wouldn't work for the guests anymore to get into the room. So now you have like 1,000 people going down to the counter to ask for new cards. There's shit going on with the ATMs in the place. They really wreaked havoc. And they're trying to keep the casino open while all this is going on. And they say, give us $30 million.
Oh, my God. This is a real Ocean's 11.
It is. But all from computers in this like known gang of hackers.
Oh, boy.
They're not like hiding their identity.
Really?
Yes. That one scares me.
Hacking?
Yes.
Me too.
More than the other things. I don't really think too much about
I feel
the
like
other
we
things.
can't even talk about it.
I know. Or it's inviting attention
Yeah.
from them. I know. I don't want to pick any fights with any hackers.
No, we are on your side.
But you do worry, like, what could they do to, any of these municipal power grids or fucking lights? Everything's digital now. I just imagine being the person in charge of all that at the casino going, oh my God, where do we start? Repairing all this stuff. Like, once the card readers don't work, how does one fix that?
Okay, I have a question. This is one of Callie's first date questions.
Oh.
She asked people, I forget how she phrased it. She phrased it in such a playful way. Something along the lines of, what would your crime of choice be?
If you could get away with a crime, what would it be?
Right. Hold on. Let me see how she phrases
Okay,
it.
let's check in with her. What happened on Connections today? I haven't been able to check back in. I just saw that Robbie said he was stuck.
He was stuck. Callie was stuck, and then
But then Callie aced it.
then
I guess
she
I saw
did.
that.
Max did. I haven't done it
You
yet.
haven't done it yet. Okay.
How do you phrase your first date question about crime?
I mean, I already have an answer just
You
with those
do?
crumbs.
Okay.
Yeah, I would want to get away with like stealing $100 million.
No, that's too. In what way? Like, would you want to do a bank robbery? We both like the idea of art theft. I like the idea of being in an Ocean's 11,
Yes.
a heist.
Yes, a big, complicated heist.
I get to play a little part in it.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds fun to me.
Yeah, I just want to I want to break into a warehouse and get into a truck that has $100 million in cash and drive away. Although I would love a police chase involved. I'd love to outrun the police at some point in this.
Okay.
I'd like to build the perfect getaway car and then get away.
Oh, so you're more like an Italian Job.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah. You had to help me. If we were on a first date, I'd be like, you'd be like, fuck, I got to really help this guy into
What if it was a
being
deal
creative.
breaker? It's like,
Yeah.
oh God, he just couldn't even. He just wanted to steal money, and he didn't have any creativity
wants the
about
money.
it. He's just in it for the money.
Oh,
I
bad
know.
sign. Did any of them say I want to murder someone?
No, but
Or
that's
rape them? And that would be
that's a red flag.
it's a major red flag.
Yeah. Or like stealing babies from hospitals or something. Like that would be bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
There's some that are bad.
The only crimes that are good are stealing that we can get behind. It's a very Robin Hood fantasy. But I wouldn't give any away. I'll be the first to tell you.
You wouldn't.
So in that fantasy, I'm not giving any away. I'm just getting $100 million and buying a
This is a
super
bad
cool
first
boat
date.
or something. Yeah, this is a pass for you.
Like, you won't even share your money with me?
Oh, with another person maybe, but like, I'm just saying there's no Robin Hoodness to it. I don't like, I'm not going to steal
you're not
it and
gonna give
it
to the poor.
No, I'm going to like buy a cool boat and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you ever think about winning the lottery?
Like, what it would feel. I mean,
Well,
I have.
For Ace's birthday, I bought him $100 in lottery tickets.
Oh, fun.
And when I split it between the like California mega thing and the mega thing that's national, one of them was for $680 million.
Okay.
And the other one was for $860 million. This
Oh
is one
my
that I think they say got to $1 billion. Like, I'm out of the lottery game. Like, I haven't been tracking. When I was a kid, people won $15 million. It was like crazy. People
Yeah.
are winning
This is
like
insane.
$1 billion.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And my joke to Ace was, if you win either one of these, I don't need anything. But if you win both and you win $1.3 billion, or I guess it would have been almost $1.5 billion, I'm like, I want some.
Okay.
Give me some.
Of course. Now, if he won,
Yeah.
or let's not make it him, right?
Why?
Well, because I want it to be you making the decision.
Okay.
If someone gave you, I guess not now because you have money, but when you were 28,
Yeah.
if somebody did that for you,
Gave me $100 or $1 billion.
gave you the lottery tickets,
uh-huh.
and then you ended up making $400 million,
Okay.
would you feel any obligation to give some back to the person?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I would.
And how much would you feel
Well,
you'd
that's
have
where
to
it started
give?
getting tricky.
Yeah.
Like if they bought me a lottery ticket and I won $400 million, I feel like I would give them $20 million. And they'd probably be like, why wouldn't this guy give me half? $200 million's not enough for them. And they'd be right.
Right.
But I just feel like $20 million's a lot of money,
I know, but
but it's stingy.
okay. And then what if Ace?
Won $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
What did I want?
Yeah. What would you think is fair for you to get?
This is what I pitched. I'm not even asking for direct money. I'm asking that there is now a Shepard Curtis airplane,
Okay.
and it has a pilot, and that thing is at my disposal. I can go anywhere I want on this private jet that Ace bought and
Okay.
pays for the upkeep on and all the travel.
Okay.
That would be my wish, is that like tomorrow morning, I'm like, I want to go to Paris tomorrow. Fly to Paris.
Now, what happens if he wants to use the plane that weekend?
Like, I'll go wherever he wants to go.
Oh, you will? No, really.
Yeah,
I
he'll probably
mean-
want to keep going to like Anaheim to
Florida.
Disneyland. Yeah.
Well, I just mean, that gets more complicated than you think if you're sharing. I think he should just give you some money,
Can
then
you
you buy
imagine?
your plane.
This is so human, though. Like, you're right. So this is great. There's a plane. It would only happen once in like 3 years where we both wanted it, and it would become the
It would be a
biggest
big
deal.
fight.
Yeah, you'd be convinced that like you'd feel so entitled to. Oh, I can't. Keep.
I know.
I know. You get used to it.
Gift giving is really more psychological and complicated than people
Give it
think.
credit.
You have to really be mindful about not having strings attached to these gifts
Absolutely.
in life.
Yep.
Everyone thinks they're doing that. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
thinks they're just being generous.
Yes.
But often there's stuff
Sure.
connected,
Yeah.
and it's tricky.
It is, but the reason I brought up the lottery is what's funny is, and I guess I like it.
Mm-hmm.
When I imagined winning $1.4 billion, I buy back into this whole fantasy about money. I
Oh,
go,
you do?
Oh, yeah. I go like, oh, yeah, I would waste it. Like I would do this and I'd have a jet and maybe I'd have a crazy boat and I would blah, blah, blah. And I'm off to the races again. And I was like, it's so interesting because like the money I've earned, I just can't act stupid and reckless with.
Yeah.
But if you give me this free money I wasn't expecting and I didn't earn or slowly watch accumulate, I get to buy back into the fantasy.
I wonder, I mean, I don't think that would really play out that
I would
way.
get 1.4 and I would be weird about it. I don't think I'd ever feel good about just blowing money, no matter how much I had.
Yeah, and there's all these stats about lottery winners who
Oh, they
are
all-
suicidal.
Yes, their life gets worse, and the crazier stat is how many of them end up bankrupt.
Right.
That number is super high.
Yeah. Oh,
Hope I don't ever win the lottery.
I hope Ace wins though.
I do too. I was also thinking, like, what impact would that have on the rest of his life, knowing he has $1.4 billion in a bank? Would it destroy his motivation to do anything?
Right.
Would he, like, how would he act in high school, like walking around the halls knowing, like, yeah, bitches, I got $1.4 billion. Like, would it fuck up his whole personality?
Yeah, I mean, this
If
is
I knew
a ding,
I had that
ding,
in high school, I
ding.
probably would have been a terrible person.
This is a ding, ding, ding for Joey King.
Oh, great.
Child actor. Could be similar. She's not, obviously.
She could be a tyrant.
But child actors could be because they are like that. They're kids with money sitting in a bank somewhere.
True. But every time we interview one of these people who made a bunch of money when they were kids, none of them seem to have really realized how much money they had.
Well, obviously, we're interviewing people who have made it through that process.
True. Yeah, just none of them, like, when my fantasy of if I was in high school and I knew I had $800,000 in the bank,
Yeah.
I imagine that'd feel a certain way. And thus far, everyone that was in that situation, they're like, I didn't even think about it. My mom wouldn't have let me buy this. I could buy a bike. That was cool.
Right.
No, it wasn't at all.
But I guess what I'm saying is that
It didn't ruin them.
that's the type that ends in success.
Right.
A type that's not thinking about it so much.
That makes sense.
All right, well, let's do some facts then. So deja vu. We talked about deja vu.
Is there any science on deja vu?
Well, yeah, so some. There's not as much as I would like.
Yeah.
But
But there's a lot of very weird.
this is from Cleveland Clinic.
Oh.
It says, when you're experiencing deja vu, your brain is creating an illusion. This is thought to happen when there's a bit of miscommunication between two parts of your brain. It's caused by dysfunctional connections between the parts of your brain that play a role in memory, recollection, and familiarity. You have two temporal lobes, one on each side of your head, right above your temples. They play an important role in helping you to recall words, remember places you've been, recognize people, understand language, interpret other people's emotions. In each temporal lobe is a hippocampus, which contributes to many of these
Oh,
functions.
there's multiple hippocampus?
news
There's
to me, too.
hippocampi?
That's news to me, too.
Whoa.
I know. It makes me a little nervous that it's wrong.
It would be, I'm saying it's going to be hippocampi because of hippopotami.
I was going to ask, what is that?
Well, hippopotami is the plural
It
of
is.
hippopotamus.
Wow. Then it is
Then I'm going to say it's definitely hippocampi.
That's right.
Hippopotami.
Hippocampi.
No, it is? I was
Yeah.
teasing.
Humans and other mammals have two hippocampi, one on each side of the brain.
Wow, hippocampi.
I can't believe we're just now learning we have two.
And we're so smart, we already know that somehow. About the hippocampi.
Well, you knew it.
But I didn't know I knew it.
Okay, this contributes to many of these functions and is responsible for storing your short-term memories. Occasionally, like during certain types of seizures, your hippocampus and surrounding brain tissue can be activated, causing you to have memory experiences like deja vu. This causes a disruption of recognition memory systems, which gives you a false sense of familiarity. It says you're susceptible to deja vu if you, this seems crazy, have a high level of education, travel a lot, remember your dreams, hold liberal beliefs.
Weird.
I know.
I check all those boxes. But I don't know if I over-index in deja vu.
It says in one of the things I read, it said after age 25, I think, it goes down.
I definitely used to get it way more when I was younger.
It says in some cases it can be a symptom of temporal lobe epilepsy, a seizure disorder that starts in the temporal lobe area of your brain.
You have no idea where yours are, do you? You haven't gotten that deep into the diagnoses.
No, because you have to catch one. They're very hard to catch.
Very elusive.
They are. They're limited edition.
Yeah.
Okay. It says when deja vu is a problem, it's if it occurs a few times a month or more often.
Okay.
If it's followed by loss of consciousness.
Ooh.
If it's accompanied by abnormal dreamlike memories or visual scenes. And if it comes with unconscious chewing, fumbling, a racing heart, or feeling of fear. But feeling of fear is...
For you is going to be hard to parse out.
Okay, is sleeping nude
Oh.
healthy? Sleeping nude can help your core temperature cool faster and lead to better sleep.
Ah. What about sweaty leg syndrome?
It doesn't address that.
SLS.
Sleeping naked may improve health, partner intimacy, anxiety, and self-esteem. When sleeping naked, make sure your bedding is comfortable, the room temperature is optimal, and you prioritize personal hygiene before bed.
Oh.
So yes, I guess the temperature thing makes sense.
I'm just trying to think if I get boners when I sleep.
In the morning?
Boy, I missed those when I was younger. Those have receded. I'll wake up with a boner because I have to pee so bad that my penis, I think, shuts off. That's a mechanism to help not pee your bed.
You get a boner that stops you from peeing?
Yeah, like
because it's so hard to pee with a boner.
Well, no, like I think your body knows it's going to pee itself, so it gives itself an erection because it's hard to pee with an erection.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I have a boner, but I really only have a boner because I'm about to pee my pants. And I got to
Interesting.
jump up and go to the bathroom.
Maybe that's all morning wood is.
Maybe that is what it is. But I've always been told that's like when your testosterone levels are the highest because your body just made it all and you didn't use any. I don't know.
Try it out. Would you ever try? Oh,
Well, I
you
have
don't want the sweaty legs.
You know what I would do? I would like to wear leggings,
Okay.
like thigh-high leggings,
Okay.
and then be nude everywhere else. That way my legs wouldn't get sweaty when they're
That's
laying
just
on top
wearing
of each
pants.
other. No, because the pants are now covering your genitals.
Oh, you just want them to
leggings.
cover.
Yeah, I want sexy women's leggings
but
that
leggings,
I sleep in.
You mean, okay, because most people who think leggings think it's one piece.
Oh, you're thinking of snow leggings?
Well, any legging.
What
any
about-
legging you have.
What
is-
do you wear a garter belt with?
Stockings?
Stockings. Maybe I should try putting on stockings.
Okay.
And that feels so sexy. If I put on stockings at night.
Your self-esteem would go up.
Yes, and high stockings and I was naked everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think I then would get an erection while I was sleeping.
The problem is they rip very easily.
I've never worn them, but I'll be careful. Well, I'll only be in bed. But I think I'll be in bed and I'll be feeling stockings on my legs, which would make me think I'm rubbing up against a woman with stockings.
Oh, and then you'd like that.
Yeah, and then again, I would have wood.
Do you want that while you're naked or no?
I do and I don't. I don't want to be woken up.
Yeah.
Is mostly now my main agenda in life because I do wake up so often.
Yeah.
But I love when I get wood because it makes me feel youthful.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Is weed legal in South America? It is in Uruguay.
Just in Uruguay. Mm-hmm. Did you hear from the Richardsons about how there's coca tea is everywhere you're at when you're in Peru?
No. I
Yeah.
didn't hear that.
Like the hotel, everywhere. Everyone drinks coca tea.
That has cocaine in it?
That's what cocaine comes from, the coca leaves.
Right, but
So it's just like a mild, it's like a super mild version of the cocaine. It's not concentrated, but it gives you a little spring to your step. It's kind of like caffeine, but a little different. But everywhere, everyone's drinking coca tea.
yeah, interesting. Okay, what is non-sleep deep rest, NSDR? She mentioned that. Huberman coined
Yeah.
the term.
Oh, he did.
It's, I guess, similar to meditation.
Okay.
Relaxation techniques that fall under the umbrella term NSDR help a person enter deep relaxation. Breathing, visualization, attention exercises have been found to decrease activity in the sympathetic nervous system while activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so I looked up about skipping your period and stuff.
Okay.
We talked
With the
about
pill?
that. With the pill, we talk a fair amount about
Athletes.
athletes. You said maybe Taylor Swift doesn't get her period. We don't know that. Also,
I'm not her OB, in case people think that.
no, you're not. We talked about why it's okay to not. Like
Have your
you gave
period.
an explanation about cancer, and a lot of what you said is right. You can increase the risk of cancer like the more times
You have your period.
you have your period, yeah, which
Yeah.
is interesting. I still don't understand where the egg would go, though. Like, because you're still ovulating. And then where does this egg go?
It just doesn't drop. It doesn't make its way through the fallopian tubes and do all the stuff.
But ovulation is the release of the egg.
But I think if you were to take the pill without the sugar pill for that period, I think when you stop the sugar pill, it sends an egg to the fallopian tube, then travels to the other side of the fallopian, then comes down into your ovaries and then passes through. I don't think the process even starts if you don't take the sugar pill. So they're just sitting in the same sack they've been sitting in since you were born, and they're just not dropping.
I don't understand that, though, because the actual ovulation...
But you wouldn't ovulate if you didn't take the sugar pill, you wouldn't ovulate.
But ovulation is 2 weeks before your period. It's the mid-cycle when you ovulate.
Okay.
So that's why I don't get this.
Okay. Well, now I'm probably out of my depth.
Okay. Well, maybe someone can tell us. Maybe an OB who listens can tell us.
We should have an OB on, an expert.
Yeah, I would love
Tell us
that.
all about the,
Female body.
yeah,
We all need to learn more about it.
we do.
Okay, Munchausen by proxy, about 1% meet the criteria. Okay, eye floaters. If you notice a sudden increase in eye floaters, contact an eye specialist immediately, especially if you also see light flashes or lose your vision.
Wow. If you lose your vision, you need to be told to see an eye specialist.
It says in most cases, floaters are normal and harmless. A sudden increase could mean damage to the inner structures of the eye.
Have you since taken a minute to find them?
I don't have them.
Have you laid on your back in the grass yet and looked up at the bright sky?
Why does it have to be the grass?
Because that's a great place to lie, to look on the sky. What are you going to lay on,
I
a
don't
sidewalk
have
or
any.
pavement?
I don't have any grass.
Yeah, but you happen to work at a place with quite a bit of grass.
I do. It says they happen because of normal changes in your eyes. As you age, tiny strands of your vitreous, which is the gel-like fluid that fills your eyes, stick together and cast shadows on your retina. Those shadows appear as floaters.
I feel like mine are permanent. I think there's like some scarring on the lens.
You might need to go to the eye professional immediately.
I can still see you though. I'm gonna wait till I can't see before I go.
You have it right now. You can see them.
I can't see it right now. I have to be in bright light with no other distracting. So the blue sky.
Okay.
Because you're looking way beyond that normally. You're 10 feet away from me. But if you're up looking at the sky and then your eye doesn't even know what to focus on, I think it makes its focus super shallow and you start seeing the imperfections in your lens. I know it's not like a gel sliming on my eye because if I try to follow it, it moves at the exact rate and ratio as I'm moving my eye. So I just make it disappear by trying to follow it because it's not in the center, unfortunately, because I want to stare at it.
Sure.
But it's just to the left. So I try to like hone in on it, which then moves it further to the left.
Maybe yours is just a scratched something.
That's what I think. I mean, I've had some different traumas to the eye. There was famously in high school, I flicked a cigarette and you know that story.
And it got in your eye?
Yeah, flicked the cigarette trying to be funny. I was doing a bit and then it flew up perfectly in the red hot. Landed in my eye right as I blinked to avoid that. And it kind of just held it there for a second. And then I had to swat it out of my eye. I did go to the emergency room. They gave me all this fluid, blah, blah, blah. And then they put an eye patch over my right eye. And then they said, be careful driving home. Your depth perception is going to be really out of sorts. And I said, yeah, no problem. And I was driving and I saw the stop sign approaching. And then I just saw the stop sign blow by. And then I drove straight out into Commerce Road and almost went into the ditch on the other side. And I was like, oh, they weren't kidding. Holy shit.
I see floaters too, and I had an eye patch when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
I got a dinosaur thrown in my eye.
So it probably scratched your cornea. Yeah.
So, well, floaters is
that.
different than if you have like eye damage.
Okay.
So maybe you both just have eye damage.
Okay. No need to see a specialist.
Okay. Well, that's it.
That's that.
One more thing, the swastika. The right-facing symbol clockwise is called a swastika. This is in Hinduism, symbolizing Surya, sun, prosperity and good luck, while the left-facing symbol counterclockwise is called a savastika.
So, yeah, both existed in
Hinduism. Symbolizing night or tantric aspects of Kali. I think that's a god.
Tantric and Kali. Kali is a Hindu god?
Kali. Hindu goddess, yeah.
Does she know?
Well, my Kali is not this Kali.
I know, but she might be delighted to know her name comes from a Hindu
I'll
god.
tell-
God or goddess? What do we say?
She's a goddess.
Goddess.
It says a major goddess associated with time, change, creation, power, destruction, and death in Shaktism and some tantric stuff.
I love that. It's exciting.
I know.
Yeah. And intimidating.
It's interesting when you start doing this. You can just like keep clicking on words.
Rabbit hole.
And it's
You forget
this
what
is
you're
how
trying
the
to learn
internet
about.
works.
Yes. It's just in.
Wow. All right.
All
well,
right.
that's it.
Love you.
Love you.